Do you think people thought we weren't doing it because you weren't on yet?
It's possible. But hopefully this thing gives out a notification.
Oh, good,
Greetings.
good. Greetings.
And welcome again to a wonderful Sunday book study. As you know, we're going over Tattwa Shuddhi, the incredible book about inner spiritual purification. And this Sunday, which is today, we're going over chapter 6 and 7, right? How do I forget so fast? Yeah, 6 and 7. 6 and 7, talking about the breakdown of the microcosm and the macrocosm, and then breaking down the Antakarana, which is known as the inner tool. So let's see. Got some people in the waiting room I should probably let in.
Yeah, there you go.
I've officially refused to wear an undershirt ever again.
Definitely looks good on you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Peace, John Dorian. Peace, Gemma Thorne. Peace, Boy. Peace, IDK was Bracken. Trader Marco, greetings. Trader Marco says, thank you for being a current knowledge source. Thank you for being, the other end of that. Because the current has to have both, right? Okay, all right. So, the important thing to remember is that the more that we understand about our experience with clarity, the more that we're able to do with it. So most of us are clueless, right? And that's okay. As long as we understand that we're clueless and we do everything in our power to get away from being clueless and get into being knowledgeable. What I really enjoy about Tattwa Shuddhi is that it lays out literally a diagram of the human experience from the individual perspective, deep down into your memory banks, all the way into pure consciousness, the prime source of the universe, right? So we got a whole map touching all those points. And if you read these chapters this week, then you saw that map on page 44. Page 45, actually, right? So at the very top, we've got the macrocosm. And the macrocosm involves Shiva, which is pure consciousness, interacting with Shakti, which is pure energy, right? And at the very bottom, we've got the microcosm. And this is our individual experience. Like I said, all the way down to your conscious mind, to your memory banks, to your five senses, right? And the further down you get, the further away you get from source, the more that matter dominates spirit, right? And if you notice here, that line here with microcosm, that line is due to what is known as Maya. And everybody knows, oh, this is an illusion. Maya is what makes everything seem so not real. Well, it's because of Maya that we believe that we're in an individual experience. It's because of Maya that the pure consciousness of God, of Shakti, of Shiva seems not as pure. And there goes my camera. Had technical difficulties earlier because my camera keeps shutting off. Mainly because I unplugged it to make this really cool video for TikTok. And then when I plugged it back in, I guess I didn't set something right. So you might experience me disappearing and coming back. Peace, Tree Marie. Peace, Mo B. Peace, M. Peace. All right. See, we have the baby calendar. It's a touch screen. Speaking of which, I'm sure if I touch it, it'll stop. There we go. All right. So, like I was saying, we got the macrocosm versus the microcosm. And in the beginning of chapter 6, she talks about how the macrocosm is present within the microcosm. It's all one, right? We live in a duality because we are experiencing Maya. We're not actually in a duality. We just believe that we are, right? So when we say we live in a duality or a dual universe, the duality is talking about subjective reality and objective reality. So what's happening
It's 2:00.
Thanks, Maxine. Just like in the beginning of the chapter, it says, just like our DNA contains all the information that will manifest as our hair and our skin and our eyes and even our mental patterns or mental what's the word? Predispositions. Just like our DNA contains all of our physical and mental predispositions, so does our inner essence contain all the predispositions of the cosmos, literally as above, so below. So within you is the same exact stuff that's out there in the universe. And the way that this energy manifests itself and expresses itself on this lower plane, this physical plane, is through the process of generation, maintenance, and destruction. And this we see expressed as the three gunas, which it talks about later on in chapter 6. But basically, the whole reason that we have this separation, this supposed separation, is because at some point, consciousness and pure energy have separated, right? And it's in that separation that we get individual consciousness, where we get our individual perspective. So because of that seeming separation, we exist in the middle between pure consciousness and everything material. So since that separation exists within our very core, it's always seeking to recombine. It's the masculine and the feminine, always seeking to recombine on every possible layer of existence. The masculine and the feminine are seeking to recombine. And obviously that plays out in our daily lives where men and women seek each other, or masculine role and feminine role seek each other to become one. That's also expressed energetically as Kundalini Shakti. And when people talk about raising their Kundalini, where they get that from is that the Kundalini exists down in the Muladhara, the root chakra, and it's constantly seeking to rise up and meet the crown chakra, which is where the pure Shiva, pure consciousness energy resides. Okay. Let's see. Greetings, Pablo X. Greetings, Nicole Berkeley. Wayne M. How are you doing? Twin Flames Unite. Love you too. God flow. Namaste. Peace, peace. All right. So, just going over chapter 6 some more here. Another thing to remember is that Shiva, both Shiva and Shakti are omnipresent. They seem like they're separated from our individual perspective, but in truth, they are always coexisting and cooperating. They're omnipresent, but the difference is how they function. Pure consciousness is dormant. It's omnipresent, but it's not active. So Shiva is just the witness. He's eternally meditating, but it's a state of pure awareness. There's no activity there. Now, with Shakti, with pure energy, energy is also omnipresent, but it is active. So it does nothing but move. So on one hand, we've got consciousness, which is awareness, but no action. And then we've got matter or energy, which is action, no awareness. So they fit together just like the yin yang. All right. So in the book, it talks about two different levels. Vyakta, which is the unmanifest, and Vyakta, which is the manifest. All right. So really there's three levels. depending on if you're looking at the Samkhya or the Vedanta.
Excuse me. Awesome.
Yeah. At the uppermost level is where you have pure undifferentiated consciousness and there is no change whatsoever. When you're looking at the tree of life, this would be the triple blackness.
Excuse me. I needed this. Always up.
It'd be the triple blackness of space. Then right underneath that layer of
Excuse me.
infinite.
Now perfect timing as usual. Thinking face.
All right. Thanks, Maxine.
Excuse.
So yeah, the three levels of well, not really manifestation, but the three levels that this whole thing lays out. You've got the pure consciousness, which exists and will always exist, and everything emanates from that. The next layer is what Tattwa Shuddhi talks about as avyakta, which is the unmanifest, right? So this is where you've got more of the realm of Prakriti mixed with Shiva, but not manifested yet. So it's all the potential. So within Prakriti, the three gunas are present, but they're in an equilibrium, right? They're in a balanced, harmonized state. And at the third layer, which is known as Vyakta, this is the manifest dimension. And this is where the three gunas are out of balance. So since they're out of balance, they're constantly seeking to be in balance. And this is what causes the motion. And it is eternally in motion. So although these are three different perspectives of the same thing, we find ourselves individually in that lower layer. We see ourselves in manifestation. So we're exposed to time. We're exposed to space. We're exposed to an individual point of view. So we go through life moment by moment. And we can look back at the past and look forward into what we think is going to be the future, but we're never in the state of pure consciousness because our tools of perceiving that haven't been sharpened. So in processes of meditation, proper meditation, and processes like Tattwa Shuddhi, we learn to sharpen and hone those faculties so that we're able to detect the presence of pure consciousness and pure awareness, because they're always present. And aspects of ourself, aspects of our Antakarana, like the buddhi, right? The higher intellect, it's always in contact with higher consciousness. But like I said, the tools that we have, they're not refined enough to really sense the presence of pure awareness. If you guys recall from the book study of mystical Kabbalah, you'll remember that Dion Fortune broke the tree down into 3 triads. I got the book upstairs. But yeah, basically, she broke the tree of life down into 3 triads. The upper triad, which was like the causal realm. The next triad, which was, I forget the name of it, but it wasn't quite concrete. And then the lower triad. The same thing you have going on here in this breakdown that's given in Tattwa Shuddhi. So you can really clearly see that a lot of the stuff that we have in modern Kabbalah was taken right out of this. So you notice that there's 3 different levels. At the top, we've got Shiva Tattwas, right? And this represents the pure undifferentiated consciousness. The next, we've got the Vidya Tattwas, where it's the intermediary between the pure consciousness and manifest dimension. And what makes this different is that it has Maya. And Maya is the illusory force, like it says here. And each one of these kanchukas, each one of these aspects of illusion, it gives the perception of limitation to these 3 pure forces: the willing force, the activating force, and the knowing force. And if you studied anything by Aleister Crowley, you'll notice his 4 laws of to dare, to will, to know, and to be silent. Well, again, that's taken directly out of this: the willing force, the knowing force, and the doing force. Will, know, do, and be silent. So yeah, most all of this occult stuff is coming right out of this, right out of the Vedic texts. So yeah, in that top layer, if you guys read, then you'll notice that there are the 5 pure elements of absolute consciousness, right? So what's known as Chit is pure consciousness, and that's the first level. And the second level is Chit Shakti, and that basically is with pure consciousness in union with pure energy. So when those two come in union, that's a lot like at the tree of life at the very top, how you have Chakma and Bina. But those two give birth to the three aspects of the will, action, and knowledge, which are Ichya, Kriya, and Jnana. And that makes the upper triad of the macrocosm. So the thing is, this macrocosm, it's there, but it's dormant. It's dormant and it's unified and it's homogeneous, exactly like Kether, exactly like Kether. There we go. All right, so the next level is what's known as the Vidya Tattwas, which is right here. And the Vidya Tattwas represent the 7 subtle elements, right? And they're also absolute. It also involves absolute consciousness, but it starts to go up under the veil of Maya. So it's a mixture of absolute consciousness with veiled consciousness, right? So this would be a lot closer to the more abstract realms, like the upper astral realm, the upper mental realm, the upper spiritual realm. And basically Kanchuka, what that means is it's envelope. It's like a shell. It's like a sheath, right? And it's covering up the pure consciousness and pure energy. It's covering it up. That's why it's called Maya, or the illusion. All we see is the covering. All we see is the wrapping. And basically these 5, the Kala, Vidya, Raga, Kala, and Niyati, there's 3 of them that match up with these 3. So they directly limit these 3, and they add 2 other limitations, which gives us the idea of this physical incarnation. And basically Kala, this directly limits the Kriya, right? So Kala directly limits Kriya. It limits omnipotence, right? It limits power. So while the existence of pure consciousness and pure energy is all powerful, Kala veils that. So the aspect of Maya that veils our power is called Kala. The next one is Avidya, Vidya, right? Which is this guy here. And this one limits Jnana, which is knowledge or the knowing force. So it directly limits our knowledge. It limits omniscience, right? So while there are aspects of us which are all powerful and all knowing and all present, it's these individual aspects of Maya that block our current perception of these things, right? So Raga, which is here, Raga also limits Ichya, which is the will force, right? And with that limitation of Maya, it causes desire, right? It causes attachment. It causes us to want things that we don't have and to feel unfulfilled in our lives, right? And then next, we've got Kala. And Kala represents, it creates time. It gives us the illusion of time. So it limits the perception of life. It limits our immortality, basically. So it makes us believe that we have to be born, we have to die, we have to go through change, we have to go through growth and death. And then lastly, there is Niyati, and that limits our free will. That limits our, that causes bondage, basically. It causes birth and death and links us to karma. Now, it's because of these 5 specific veils that our limitless consciousness believes that it's an individual body and it becomes attached to this physical experience. So a lot of, everyone talks about how we're trapped within Maya. We live within an illusion. Well, it's more than just that buzzword. It's more than just, oh, we live in an illusion. There's 5 specific aspects of illusion that directly limits the aspects of our eternal nature. So really, it isn't until we do purification type exercises, it isn't until we do those that we're able to really experience what exists beyond the veil of Maya. So unless, first of all, in order to heal a problem, you have to identify it, right? The first step is to identify it. And then once you identify it, you can work towards it. So if we just know, oh, we live in an illusion, we don't know how to move past that until we break it down. And that's why I keep recommending this book, because right here it actually talks about those 5 aspects of the illusion, which limits our eternal nature. So Maya creates duality. Because of those 5 limits, it cuts a split in our experience, and it creates the objective reality and it creates the subjective reality. So because of that split, we have the experience of our 5 senses, and we have the experience of what's going on in our imagination. And we don't realize that they're actually one and the same. So that duality itself creates the material universe, and that is the objective realm. What's good, Malik? All right, so that was the first 2 levels of this original tree of life, right? So we talked about the Shiva Tattvas, which was pure undifferentiated consciousness, which is very similar to Kether on the tree of life, as well as Chakma and Bina. Then the next step, we talked about the Vidya Tattvas, which was a mixture of pure consciousness and illusion, right? Now, at the bottom, we've got the Atma Tattvas, and this basically is the microcosm, and this represents our individual experience. It represents everything that we are personally going through. And Tattwa Shuddhi deals directly with that aspect of the tree. Tattwa Shuddhi deals directly with Atma Tattva. Greetings, what's good, MC Maestro? Okay, so with Atma Tattva, we've got 25 elements, right? All these guys here. We've got 25 elements that make up our individual personal experience. And these 25 elements are a result of Maya. They're a result of this veiled existence. Because our eternal nature is being veiled by Maya, now we've got all of this that has come out of it. All right. So Shiva up here becomes Purusha. It's the same thing, just on a different level. Because see, we've got this upper level of undifferentiated consciousness and energy. We've got this level where it's mixed with Maya, and then we've got this level, which is the objective realm, right? So it's the same thing, just on a different octave. So down here in the microcosm, Shiva becomes Purusha, Shakti becomes Prakriti, right? So it's not that they're different things, that it's just what we call their expression on this different plane. And again, this is the microcosm that we're talking about now. This is closer to the objective experience of the 5 senses. So Shiva becomes Purusha, which is man's pure consciousness, which is our direct focal point. Whenever you close your eyes and you meditate, you're experiencing your aspect of your individual soul, your Purusha. When you close your eyes and you focus on your own experience, this is where you are, right? Purusha. Now, if you were able to remove the envelope of Maya, if you were able to remove all of this blocking force, you'd be able to experience pure consciousness. So this is what we're doing with these Vedic practices. We're working on removing these veils so that we can experience pure consciousness, right? So this is the intermediate layer. This has to be crossed. This is Doth, right? If you look at that diagram of the tree of life, if you have the mystical Kabbalah near you, just take a look. And I might go upstairs and grab it just to kind of further illustrate. But it's that veil of Maya that has to be crossed in order to experience pure consciousness. It's not an easy task because we cling tightly to this lower experience. 90% of us, 99% of us don't know what's past this experience here. So it's not like something you'll just be able to do next weekend. It takes practice. And that's what we've started. That's what we've initiated here. So Shiva becomes Purusha, which is man's consciousness and our focal point. And Shakti becomes Prakriti, right? And Prakriti is kinetic energy. It's all movement all manifestation that you can possibly conceive of, physical, mental, in your imagination, all that stuff. Because the physical body is an aspect of Prakriti. So is the mind, right? So the mind, that's not Shiva. The mind is, it's still matter. It's very subtle matter, right? Just like radio waves and Wi-Fi and radiation from radioactive material, you can't see it, but it's matter at a very fine level. So is the mind. The mind is radiating from the body. So even your mind is a part of matter. What we're dealing with is something that's beyond matter. When you look at when you look at what's going on here in Prakriti, oh, there goes the camera again. You've got, yeah, but if you got page 45 in your book, you'll see it. Buddhi is that part of our individual experience that exists beyond matter, right? It's that part of ourselves that we're trying to get into contact with. Ahamkara, the ego nature, it is completely dependent on this physical experience, right? Ahamkara is, it's the executive power. It's the one that seeks out the different experiences, and the experiences that our Ahamkara seeks out, it's based on our samskaras, right? And if you look in the back of the book, there's definitions for all this, but basically samskaras are the subconscious impulses that are planted deep within us. They're seeds. So those seeds of samskaras are planted within us. The ahamkara, which is the ego, all it does is it manifests those seeds into a full-grown plant. So Ahamkara, like I said, it's the executive officer, and it's seeking out different experiences. But as I kept saying before, that's not free will. We think we have free will, but what is at the root of your free will? You've got these samskaras which have planted seeds for everything you do. And that's what your ego does. It seeks out to develop those seeds. So that's not free will. You're just acting based on subconscious impulses, right? And Ahamkara, it creates and it reinforces likes and dislikes. So even though those seeds are planted and they become fully blossomed, every time you like or dislike or make a move based on those things, you create more of an attraction to it. You condition yourself to continue behaving in that way. So that's not evolution. That's not liberation. So Ahamkara, it's thought bound. It's bound to thought. It's not past that. Your ego, it lives within your thoughts. Your ego is that voice in your head and the experiencer, but it's not the higher self. It's the Ahamkara that enjoys pleasure and endures pain, right? No other aspect of your being endures pleasure and pain but the Ahamkara, but the ego. And as we know, the ego seeks to preserve itself. Everything it does, it seeks to reinforce and preserve itself. Itself, I say, it's not you. It seeks to preserve itself. Ahamkara covers the true self. It covers the Purusha. So it's another veil, honestly. All right, are y'all with me? Am I going too far into outer space? I shouldn't, because it's all stuff from the book. Let me know something. Let me know something. Greetings, Shango.
Peace, peace.
Okay. Well, I assume everybody's with me so far, even though y'all are silent.
I was just listening, but you were
We're
killing
here.
it.
Okay. All right. So basically, we're getting to this point of talking about the Antakarana, which is the inner tool. And this is the device that functions as the operating mechanism of our experience, right? So we've got the physical body, which is composed of our indriyas, which are our sensing organs and our organs of action. That's the Bahakara. How do you say it? Bahakarana. Bahya Karana. That's the outer instrument. The Antakarana is the inner instrument, and these two work together, right? So, well, let's continue with the Antakarana, so don't get too far ahead. So the Antakarana is composed of 5 aspects, as you can see again from this chart, right? Because everything I'm talking about right now is just coming from this chart. You got the Buddhi, which is the highest intelligence, right? It's the highest aspect of your personal experience. And remember, I said that because it's abstract. It exists beyond ego. It doesn't have to rely on input from the 5 senses. Then you've got Ahamkara, which we just talked about, which is your individuality. It's self-existence. Then after that, we've got Manas. Manas is the mental faculty. It's thought and counter thought. It's pretty much the manager of the 5 senses. So all of the sensory experience comes through Manas. And we've got Chitta. Chitta is a collection of subconscious patterns, right? The samskaras that we mentioned. So at this point, matter dominates spirit. So in the microcosm, pure spirit still exists, but it's covered up by those veils and it's dominated by matter. And because we are dealing with the Ahamkara, the ego, it gives rise to these elements, to these indriyas, these tan mantras, and these tatwas. All of this is coming from Ahamkara, the ego experience. All right, so the Antakarana is the psychic shell that covers Purusha. It labels everything, it biases everything, it collects data, and it categorizes it according to like and dislike. This is all stuff we talked about before, but now that we have this book, it puts things into a super detailed perspective. Everything that we do is based on what we like and what we don't like, running from pain and running towards pleasure. Well, that's the duty of the Ahamkara in allegiance with the Antakarana. And we're just talking about different aspects of the mind here.
Trav,
Yo.
love you, man. What if these are all the demons? Let's apply another word to it. Let's apply another word to Buddhi, Ahamkara. You know what I mean? So you saying, here's the componentry right here, everybody, that you're made out of your mind shit.
Yeah.
I'm not fancying it up. Here it is. So this gives birth to this. So this gives birth. So think about it, how we started. Damn. So we started going from this subtle to this thickness, this hard head shit. What if these are the demons? All of this, the Shabda, Sparsha, Ropa, Rajas, Tamas, they just give birth to more births of shit that's earth physical, germ type of shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, you was just talking, I was like, damn. So that's, to me, because I'm always thinking in the mindset of the arcane. I still think occultically, so to speak. So I'm saying, damn, what if that is the demons? They just applied another language to it. Padman, all the demons, the 72, all of them are nothing but like a family tree. This is the root of the family tree, and then other thing roots off. So when you root, so now you can connect the 72 clephotic demons or whatever, angels, demons, what exactly each demon do, why they do it. It's all fucking stemming from the Antakarana, the Shiva Karana, because they all have a beginning. And we know that the subtle was the beginning until, like I said, it became what? Fell from fucking grace, Trav. Ain't that what the Bible language say?
Yeah.
All Satan and it was cast out, and they fell from grace. They had to fall somewhere, so they fell into to subtle essences of mantras. I'm done. That's all. That's what I was just thinking about that shit, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when you look at the organization of these demons, you know, they each one of them has a certain number of legions, depending on their status, whether they're a king or a marquis, this or a third. And if you really get deep, you notice that each one of these goetic spirits are assigned to a they can be assigned to a tarot card, which can also be assigned to a point in time, which right now we're under the time of King Payman, which is also the time of my birthday.
Mm-hmm.
But all that can be tracked on the tree of life, which lines up exactly with what we're talking about here. So you're absolutely right. If someone were to dig deep enough, we could pinpoint each one of these spirits somewhere on this tree.
And let me get more arcane and occultic. What if what's because don't they call the beginning of this breakdown the lightning bolt, right? So
Yeah.
what if the lightning bolt symbolically was of the nervous system? So your nervous system is what operates the electricity. So we know that the electricity in your body is where the signals are sent, which we know comes the neurons. So this electrical force that because that's what we really are. We're not the physical force, but we are the physical force at the same time. The whole fucking fight is to fight against the ignorance of the physical form. How we fell into Maya. So how deep are you right now to have just read that and you told people what it is? You didn't give $1 million worth of game.
Again.
Like, yo, you're really at war with Maya.
Right.
Kicking your ass.
Right.
You ain't at war with me. You ain't at war with your moms. You ain't at war with the person that might have slapped you up. Yo, you really at war with the illusion of all of that shit. And it's making you feel some kind of way, think some kind of way, smell some. I'm just saying, man. We can't get no more heavier. And that shit is so much heavier, man. You know what I'm saying? But you just gave away $1 million worth of information.
Yeah. In the second Agora book, he talks about how, like what you said, Django, how the nervous system is electricity. And he was describing that the lightning bolt or that flash downwards is like when someone raises their kundalini, but then choose to engage in something that engrosses them further in matter. So,
and what did the Egyptians draw as a symbol for movement and electricity? They use either a zigzag up and down, or they use a snake, and that was symbolic of the lightning bolt, of the spark of life. So all of this, so we ain't doing it, but you see what I'm saying? This is why when you now I'm speaking from just thinking and the processes, because you just broke down a process. You understand what I'm saying? You didn't found the process. Everybody who just listened to you and who in this chat and who got this book, it's fucking dangerous information right here. Because you can change your life. You can be changing. You can now manipulate magic. This is magic.
What does she say here on page at the bottom of 48? If the performance of this instrument reaches its full capacity, man can not only control the inferior creations of nature, but also the latent forces within himself, which have the inherent power to create, preserve, and destroy. Thus, he would become a co-creator or an instrument, one with nature, replicating her cosmic process.
Nigga, you become Shakti. They never had no superhero. That was a man that used feminine energy as his power. They never defined it like that. He ain't it doesn't make him androgynous. It don't make him gay. He just was don't have no concept of that. Because you would think, well, what the nigga use? I don't know, man. The nigga use, he does something with the essence of water. This feminine energy. What is he gay? Like, nah, he ain't gay. They don't got that. That's what we're supposed to be using. That it doesn't change your genetic structure by the cause, and the effect. Just because it's called feminine energy, it don't mean that you're gonna be feminine, my nigga.
Right.
Just because it's masculine energies for the sisters, it don't mean you're gonna fucking around and grow hairs under your chin. But think about how powerful this information is, because it tells you what every component. That's heavy shit. And you just finish it off with that. You become a co-creator or an instrument, one with nature, replicating her cosmic. It doesn't say him, it says her cosmic powers.
Oh, damn. They sure did say that.
These swamis don't make no mistake, Trav, and they right.
They don't make no mistake.
Who am I to dispute that?
Dang, it sure does say that.
So you using Shakti. You know why? Because the prana, it's not just prana, it's Shakti prana that makes us animated. It animates. It takes Shakti to animate shit.
Yeah.
You just said that earlier. Shiva is inert and Shakti is inertia. And you can break it down physically, because what is philosophical has to be made tangible, or what's of the thought powers energy has to be made physical. That whenever you see that woman down in the lowest levels, why you think and I always say, and we laugh about it, why you think you love that booty shaking, man? That's Shakti movement being demonstrated, and in italics, low level. It ain't really low level because she's shaking that ass on you. Who says that's low level?
I mean, where does the Shakti energy reside?
In everything.
I mean, like in the body, like where's that Kundalini laying dormant at?
Boy, that thing is in the perineum. Break it down, Trav. Go ahead and give him science of the perineum.
Uh-oh.
Yo, I'm gonna shut up now, Trav. But yo, man, all that what you just hit, when you hit it with that, oh man, when you put up the microcosmos, the evolution of the individual elements, you know something, I want to add this too, man, because I always think about this when I read these books. Everybody should remember, you actually studying Tantra.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah.
This is Tantra. See, but everybody they've been flip-flopped into thinking that, you know what I'm saying, that Tantra, you're gonna have to put that motherfucking phallus in her. That's not Tantra. That's one practice that comes from a school of Tantra, but you don't really want to fuck with that black magic right there. That's gray magic, you know what I'm saying? But when you broke that down for the evolution of the elements, and then you hit it with the Kabbalah, you gave up. That's too much, Trav.
Yeah. Because
you have, and I got it taped onto my wall up right here, from the Mystical Kabbalah, which is page 396. If anybody want to look, it's the tree of life. Let me turn it just up here, so you can see I'm talking actual facts.
Yeah.
So this right here. So when you broke that down, You were saying the supernal triangle,
Yeah.
the top part. Then you was talking about the ethical triangle. And then you was talking about the astral triangle. This is the realm that we at down here. And Malkuth is not a part of any triangle.
Mm-mm.
But then, of course, you got the Ein Sofer, the Ein Sof, and the Ein. That's the beginning of everything that we have labeled something. That's where it come from. Yeah. Shiva and Shakti is the Ein Sof and the Ein Sofer. Or when you do Hebrew, the A-U-R, that's the same thing that they put in Kemetic language of who? Orser. That's the realm of Orser. And who is Orser? Orser is Shiva.
Mm.
And you know who's Shakti in Kemetic? Orset.
Yes.
And you know what their names start with? A-U. And that's the first two letters of Om. M in A-U-M is the science of the physical. Because don't forget that Om is Brahman. And that's another name of God. So when you put all and you together, you already put in the feminine and the masculine together that is going to birth something other than itself. You get the Adam. A is a powerful letter, Aleph. You know what I'm saying? That's a powerful letter. So when you broke down that shit right there from the because it says it on the side. In my book, is fuzzy back on page.
Hey, Alchemist Lab says AU is gold.
AU was also gold. Gold was what? Gold was used for what in Egypt as well? What was it used for?
Conductor,
An energy conductor.
Yeah.
Why you think they fucking put that shit on their whole head? They had gold foil wrapped, all kind of shit like that. So it was already. See, that's why you gotta talk. See, reading this, Trav, you breaking a code, my nigga. You opening up the portal. It just don't look like how it look on TV.
Right.
With the lights and it be sparkle. No, the portal is. That's why I put in the chat earlier. This is the fifth dimension. When you talk about you got 5 realms right there, and I said it sounds like 5D to me. That's the fifth dimension. The fifth dimension is the recomposition of putting of spirit into matter and matter into spirit, where there becomes no duality no more. You're utilizing both, and there is no definition of that. Basically, that's what it is. The highest magic you can actually do is unite Shiva and Shakti. Is unite Purusha and Prakriti.
Yeah.
That's smashing atoms. That's what they want. That's a beginning. But there is going to be no beginning. It's just an overlapping of experience that it doesn't even call it experience. It is what it is. So the whole science is all broken down. And that's just a little bit of chapter, you know what I'm saying, that you read. You know what I'm saying?
That's a little bit of chapter 1, chapter 6.
That's a little bit of that. That right there was tasting so good, I had to fucking run my fucking mouth. You know what I'm saying? Oh my gosh. Because you like, yo, when you hit it with that, with the chapter on page 46, when it says number 3, manas, the mind or mental faculty of thought, counter thought. Nigga, the same mind that you got to use to help fix yourself is the same mind that's countering every fucking thing you doing.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray Robinson on your ass. As soon as you think you got it together, man, Trav, last night I went into the deep realm of the next day you so depressed.
Right. See, and you thinking, oh, so-and-so put a curse on me. They sending demons after me. I got to burn some sage.
It was Mercury retrograde did it to me.
No, buddy. We got
No, it was your fucking manas. It was you.
That's too hard. That's too mean. We got to blame it on something else. Surely it's not me.
Yo, I'm telling you, Trav, you given, man, you're gonna have, I see it, you're gonna have to make people pay. That was too much right there, brother, because I be seeing people copycatting you, dude. So you just read that, you gave the whole book away.
It's more though, it's more.
And they was trying to tell you in the mystical Kabbalah, but they was trying to tell you in the initiation into Hermetics, but they so fucking wicked in their lies and wanting to be famous, their own individual self, which is nothing wrong with that. That's just how they wanted to manifest their power.
Right. That
you couldn't tell the truth. Yo, let me tell you the whole thing about the Antakarana. The inner tool, that's your ultimate weapon to fight the ultimate weapon yourself. Nigga, you Godzilla and King Kong.
Right. Instead of blowing up each other, why not we get these funky ass little humans running around destroying the planet?
That's why we gotta have, see, they don't even know. I'm leaving it alone, Trav. Go ahead and finish, man. But I'm just gonna say the last thing. That's why we always have the ugliest outside of our mind and eyes representations of the worst atrocities on the fucking planet. We are symbolic of everything that happens. We are internally, we are fucking Palestine and Israel. Think about how much fucking missiles them niggas just shoot. And them motherfuckers is right up. They no different than the next town that's crossed over from whatever is your town, wherever you live. Palestine would be the next fucking county over. How much blowing up can them motherfuckers do over there of each other and still have babies? They still living life. So that's symbolic of real life.
Yeah.
Everywhere, like, people be in tragedy all over the place. I don't know how can they kill the kids, but somebody's having a kid at the same time. That's the inner tool, yo. That's all of the shit that Shiva is meditating like this the whole time. And that shit coming from just to use the symbology of that Shiva physical, it's coming out of his mind. He don't even know it's coming out. It's coming out because that's just what it is. And then what it's gonna do? Enter into Shiva, and what she gonna do? She gonna shine it up. Let me try to fix this shit because it's too much. Like a woman do in real life. She ain't gonna let her man get too crazy. That's the same thing with Purusha. If we all was to practice what we read in Tattwa Shuddhi, you would never get what? Too crazy. Because once you calm and you at inner peace, you don't got no beef with nobody. You don't got no time for it because you got to get home to do your purification practices before what? You go out of control again. Because what? You a beast. So you giving the game away, man. You're giving it. And then like I'm just in this, it gives you everything right there. The Jananandriyas, the Karmandriyas, it's.
Hey, real quick, Trev.
Yo.
I just noticed that. So in the video taught was right, we have Maya, which is the illusion Da'ath, but then we have the 5 Kanchuchas. And then on the tree of life, what we have there between Da'ath and Tipareth is that barrier. And we have those 4 angels or the 4 elements. So each one of these could represent an element, but we also got in Demons of Magic. Remember the ritual that they give, they also add Metatron, they add that 5th element.
Ah,
Yeah, see?
this guy here.
You're absolutely right. Because we have the veil. There's two veils on the tree. The first veil is called on the lower.
Baraketh.
Just yes, Paraketh, and then he just hit it again. You said another veil was right where the author's at. He's absolutely correct. I just can't think of the name.
Well, even within real life, what do we have in the solar system? We got two asteroid rings. We got the inner asteroid ring, and then we got like the Kuiper belt.
Oh, come on, man.
So it all represents it just keeps representing itself and replicating. And they call the heavens veils.
And that belt is between Mars and Jupiter, which is where the veil of Paraketh is.
Yep.
Man, they slick as hell. Wow. Damn. See, I'm gonna have to. Yeah. Wow. Let me write that down.
And we have inner veils. Wow. We veil ourselves with all kind of shit.
And even then, between those, once we hit that first belt, the planets stop becoming physical. They stop becoming solid. They're like further on their gas.
Yeah, yeah.
The gas giants. Oh, they become more abstract, more subtle.
So the more you pull away.
Whoa.
So the more you pull away, it begins to, what was solid begins to dissipate and break up into its, showing you the elemental components of what once seemed and made what was solid. That's super crazy. Yeah,
I gotta write that down to look into that some more.
And don't forget, they mentioned, and forgot the title of the book, the Oth was the original solar center on the tree of life before it fell. And it's supposedly from that fall is where the shells of the clip-off came from. And in Vedic science, they don't call them shells, they call them sheaths. That we're closed, aren't we enclosed in 5 different what are they called? Koshas?
Yeah, and also those 5 kanchukas are sheaths and shells.
See? So that's what I meant earlier when I said it's just the demonic, what they're calling demonic forces, and what's been given all these names that we believe that was the name of it, and we believe that's what it did. They did nothing but reinvent fucking old tantric information. There ain't no such things. And even the Vedic stories always have wars between the higher deities and demons, which ain't nothing but what? Stories of you. What you go through in your fucking brain all day long, fighting everything, thinking somebody said something about you on fucking Facebook. And all day, your mind thinking about, I know that bitch was fucking talking. Motherfucker wasn't even talking about you. You live in Arkansas and they live in Maine. What makes you think that's what I'm saying. The whole game has just been revealed in that information right there. Go home and now do your fucking studies. You ain't got no time to be meditating for nobody else. You got to meditate for your own peace and get your shit straight. Then you can have the power and magic enough to fuck with other people, man.
Oh man, that's something to look into. Doth being the original center, and the fall caused Doth to be a placeholder somewhere outside, and that gave rise to the shells, to the clip-off. And she's talking about the 5 Kanchukas as shells, as envelopes, as sheaths that bring illusion. And then we've also got the koshas, which are shells. That all points to the clip-on. Gotta look into that.
I'm trying to find the book that I can actually give the actual quote.
So this takes it away from just like, everyone talks about it as just cool words, like, yeah, deal with the clip-off, the shells. But there's no substance. You don't know what you're talking about. But this right here is starting to make sense, because this is some abstract information. Especially if you remove the Vedic element. It's extremely abstract. This is good. This is good. I didn't expect to get all this. Man. Gas giants.
Damn, how could I not remember?
Antakarana. Antakarana is an inner psychic shell that covers up Purusha.
And I know I told you this, Trav, but like that, was it Drauga? Well, Michael W. Ford, like he gives, I'm probably gonna have to read that again, but he just, I mean, he didn't do it. It was probably the cultures, but just reworded these deities. There is Buddhi, Antakarana, and Purusha. There's a straight up value in there. It's like, I'm probably gonna have to read that book again and apply some more of this information.
And which one was that one again?
Oh, that one was Drauga.
Okay, Drauga. I might have a PDF of that, I think.
And I was laughing, like, as soon as we moved into the Vedic information, that's when he dropped his Kundalini book.
Oh, man.
So these people from the sidelines, probably, he's like, damn, they're catching up. The game is revealed.
So, yo, Trav, and yo, check this out, Maestro, right? How information is, it sounds different once we rehash it through here, right? So it says to fully fathom the Kabbalistic tree, we must know its prehistory. And this is from man, I don't even know if I even want to give the name of the book now. You know what I'm saying? I'll give it in a little while if you know what I mean. But
I think I know which one you're talking about.
This chapter is talking about the tree of life before the fall. Okay, then and it said we enter into its prehistory is not the mundane prehistorical development that we will study, but it's spiritual, magical, and mystical prehistory. As an important understanding is that the common image of the tree depicts a degraded tree, the tree after the fall. The fall represents mankind's and nature's fall into matter or materialism, if one prefers such an interpretation. This fall shields us from the spiritual world, and the abyss opens between man and the divine. The adept's goal is to, once again, bring man into contact with the divine. The traditional Kabbalistic path is the right-hand path, which aims to restore the original harmonic relation between man and the divine. And then it goes on to say blah, blah, blah. But it goes into talking about there are several depictions of the Kabbalah of the fall and the catastrophe that separates man from the divine. It is a process with many phases that are similar to one another. One can find examples of evil, aborted, what is this word? I don't even know what this word is. Aborted worlds, the cracking of the shells of creation, the 11 kings of Edom, the fall of Lucifer, and the rebel angels, the rebellion of Lilith, and perhaps above all, the example of Adam and Eve eating the fruits of knowledge. So maybe we eating the fucking fruits of knowledge, Trav. So it tells you right there, that whole words is nothing but the same process of what you read about the macrocosmos of the tantric philosophy. From Shiva to Shakti, which really you got to put above Shiva's head is Purusha, and then, or a subtitle for him, or a subatomic level, or a subparticle, or element is Purusha. Shakti is Prakriti.
It's 3 o'clock.
Yeah, and Ajna Chakra, I think the guy breaks down. I'm not sure if he uses Purusha and Prakriti in name, but he's basically talking about them, but he's talking about them in atomic form. And like, he references different experiments or whatnot that were kind of based on that or acted out that principle.
And why do you think they put that statue in the front of the
CERN.
of CERN? Come on, they know what they was doing. That's why you think the Roman Catholic Church was not trying to let science get out there like that. They didn't
It was
just
the
have,
occult back then.
they didn't just have a war against Native American and all the type of shit. They had a war against their own internal war against Europeans was beefing with Europeans. Like, yo, I don't want you talking about that. This is our shit right here, nigga. This is the Jesuits. It's all gang banging, clan banging. Like, yo, you know this is Jesuit hood, my nigga. You can't come over here talking about astrology.
So this information was kept under sword and explosive.
You was get
killed.
You get your ass killed for talking about this.
This information right here.
The wisdom of the East will get your ass burnt.
Think about that. People were getting killed for talking about this.
Because it took you out the church.
It was Galileo, like he was forced to drink poison because he was dropping it out here, like, because when you hired an astronomer back then, astronomer and astrologer were the same thing. So he was working with the Medici family and whatnot.
Exactly. And the only reason he was able to paint some shit like that on the ceiling, because he equivalated them to the fucking planets, which was his secret shit. You giggle at, like, these niggas don't even know I made this nigga, I sunned this nigga.
Yeah. Damn.
They would get, this is, everybody who's stressed out, who like mental illness, as the label of that is, you know what I'm saying, depression and stuff like that. Yo, man, you got to tell you, if you got to help your family with what you're learning in this information, you know what I'm saying? This is stuff that can help people to come out of the confusion. But what MC Maestro said about Darth, again, this is from this book. Maybe I'll drop it in. I'll put the title of it in the
It's the book by TK, right?
Huh?
It's the book by TK, right?
Hold on, let me. No, it's not TK. This is oh yeah. I just caught it. I always remember the mystical name that he wrote it under. But yeah, TK. So you already know. Talking about Lilith, I just wanted to get to that part where it spoke about the this is talking about the opening of the abyss. The paths on the perfect tree of life were alerted after the fall of man. Before the fall passed, okay, this is talking about that the paths went from Kether, Shokma, Bina, Chesed, Geberah, Tibereth, and Da'oth. from Kether, the path that corresponds to Gimel and the so it goes into to tell you that before this, what was called this fall, or these realms of emanation, or as now we just read, the transforming of the subtle forces into the gross forms. Da'oth was a counted sephira, meaning that was a place. So you got to think Da'oth was a place of information. It had to become a hidden place. It didn't destroy Da'oth. It became, so quote unquote, hidden. So that's kind of what we're doing. And they call a Da'oth as a point, right? So and we know in Sanskrit what they call a point, a bindu.
Yeah.
And the bindu is where on your body. So that's where so ain't that where fucking Da'oth is at? Is the hidden, it ain't nothing. I'm gonna hit you with the Bobby Hemmett. It's nothing but melanin. Which we know what he meant when he said melanin. What was melanin? The fucking, it's the pineal gland.
The black dot is the melanin, the pineal gland.
It's the pineal. So he was always right and exact.
It's true, he was. And that information is as well.
Alhamdulillah for Bobby Hemmett, man. In Star Wars Rebels, there was a character who, it was like just a giant being, but his name was Bendu, and he described himself as the one in the middle.
The one in the middle. Come on, they just have, and you definitely know, what's her name, George Lucas and them niggas is all Vedantic practitioners. They'll never tell you them niggas been tantrics. Don't forget they come from the hippie era. What do you think that they covered that up with calling it hippies? They wasn't, what made them hippies? Them niggas was studying fucking Sivananda when they started coming to the United States during the late and middle 60s and the 70s to do what? To bring the wisdom of the East.
Wow.
They took all that yogic information during the time. It was blowing big herb, fucking not living off the grid. And don't forget the government was just as pissed off at them niggas as they was at the fucking Black Panther Party. You know why? Because they wasn't fucking with the government. They then found some other information that made them leave Christianity. And well, I'm not gonna do title. I'll say they left traditional American lifestyle. And that was gonna be what? Detrimental for the fucking economy.
Yeah. Yeah. America and its values as a cult. And they were breaking away from that cult. So they had to
and it's not in America. When we say American occultism, it's not just a cult, it's financial power occultism. We got to have money. We feed our demons with currency. We got to have these people making money. So when it's all of this here information has always been, that's why they use the word occult, means hidden. So the whole occult is a Latin word. So the whole thing is, it had to be, because the more you become informed with right information, you set things right. You're not going left no more. So when you deal with it like that as a concept, the left-hand path is a path of sorcery that you use to live in the wrong world, to live in America. You use left-hand magic to generate you things that you utilize in Prakriti. Materialism. Purusha, that ain't, you don't even really need magic there, because magic is what magic came from there, whatever's called magic. So the whole thing is that this is all broken down. So when they started fucking with the yoga shit, go back and read, I'm not saying you, I'm saying in general, go back and study the authors of this information that was coming to the United States, and you will see that a lot of them was doing big tours of America during the 60s and 70s, giving speeches all at Berkeley and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So now here's another, and that's what they mean when it says, not, I keep saying Shiva is stuck in my mind, but not Shiva. Krishna he always comes back when there's a time of need. See, and people misinterpret what the Christos energy and Christ and all of these different saviors, they come as what? A vibration of energy resurgence, which is knowledge. They start feeding you from the tree of knowledge. So that's why I said earlier, by you vibrating to you a bindu, you a point. If people see, I didn't broke. It's a science to this shit we learning. So Trav is a mother. So look at Trav. That nigga's melanated nigga. Look at his fucking head. This nigga's an energy center. So he's fucking with information that then opened up. This nigga then opened up a pathway to some shit. So the more we start rocking with that, it becomes a vibratory pattern that is the resurgence of Krishna, of an avatar energy. All what we think, because we've been fed imagery, what they say God looks like. You know what I'm saying? When the nigga came in, he was always like this. First of all, them old pictures like the white Jesus, nigga was always in a mudra. But the nigga looking fucking real cocker spaniel. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it going. This nigga did not. I'm just saying. They should have just left the whole image alone, my nigga. See, the only reason they made it into a man figure is to give particular people power over that fucking energy. If you left that shit alone, now you only got to do what? Feed the information. But Trav, I think you might want to hit back, man. I'm sorry, because I know I went on one of my tangents and shit like that. But you gotta give some more. You gotta go back, because that was a lot. Because you gotta get into chapter 7 too. Because you just gave, like I said, I'm gonna say it. You're giving the game, yo. You're giving the titles. You gave the whole book. There's multiple people that should be reading this book. No more excuses, y'all. What you complaining about? You're learning a whole new language, and you're learning the application of the science that is teaching. And if you catching it, you catching it all in the other books you read. Like, oh shit, these niggas is compiling it out with Vedic science.
It's everywhere. At least in my little, career on this YouTube, we've been in the same information from day one, just under different names.
They just they reinvented it so they can make money off of it. That's all they did. They Americanized it. That's what it's called. When they say westernization on a global usage of the word, that means they're making money over there. Yeah. They're making, and not just money, they're making American currency.
I get it. It's the American way.
The American way. They're the way they feed whatever is called the demon, or their senses. Their buddhi, also known as the Mahat, is the highest intelligence, would manifest its full potential on the influence of Sattva. Them niggas is fucking Rajas. American globalism is Rajas energy. And it only feeds the samskara. It only feeds memory of something that's gonna make me feel good by having control. And that's what we are. We westernized until we come back. That's why I said, don't go into the light Carrie Ann. She wanted the Carrie Ann to stay in the dark. But you gave it all right there, man. Come on, Trav, read chapter 7, man. You got to break it down even more. Because, goddamn.
Godflow 93 says, my mind is fed today. Amen. What's going on, Amar? How you doing?
Amar would have, if we was church, Amar would have been
What's up?
passing that basket right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's good.
Air condition don't run on faith, good people.
Sure to say amen. Man, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor.
Neighbor. The church don't run on faith.
On faith. Amen. Please be seated.
What type of church you got then, if you really think about it, if it doesn't run on faith?
Man, we got to pay these bills here, brother. See this here. So we got to have, come up to the chancel rail, brother. They took all of that. Put it like this: when churches started closing for the COVID virus, you threw all that Jesus shit out the window.
Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Because where's the power? In the blood. What's all that shit you've been telling me, Grandma?
That Corona got power in the blood.
What happened? You didn't close the church door. The benedictions can't even say that anymore. The church door has always been open. We inviting you. Man, the church door has been closed for 2 years, man.
Yikes. I know it was the blood.
That's why we had to get away. So we opening new portals. We ain't rocking with that. Now niggas gonna apply all that shit we said to Bindu, and realize that even in Western culture, the English language is never giving you the verbal power vibration that you needed to break certain fucking Mayas over your mind. So now you got to learn different words and call them. You're not just utilizing intellect, you're utilizing buddhi, which gives it a whole broader perspective of just beyond being smart. But
yeah, I mean, we don't have a breakdown of what's going on. We just call it the mind. And if you want to get a little bit more technical, we say the subconscious mind or the conscious mind. But we don't have anything like what we're going over here today.
that's all we've been dealing with is conscious mind and subconscious. So think about how many times we didn't beat that up.
Right. And it wasn't satisfactory. Like it made some leeway and it felt like you were getting somewhere, but it didn't fully flesh it out, you know?
It wasn't full. There was no.
What is a subconscious mind?
But what is the conscious mind? Like, I mean, where does this consciousness come from to become a mind? There's no answer. There was no answers for those things.
No, just more words to use to kind of talk about it, but it's all the stuff is so vague when you take out the Vedic aspect.
Can you just please, Trav, just read page 48, man?
48, we're talking about the individual mind.
So wait a minute, what page you read? Okay, yeah, 48.
And this is talking about Antakarana. Antakarana is combination of two Sanskrit words. Anta, which means inner, Karana, which means tool or instrument. Antakarana is thus the inner tool or instrument of man. It is comprised of four faculties: buddhi, which is intellect, Ahamkara, which is ego, manas, which is thought, counter thought, and chitta, which is memory. According to Tantra and Yoga, these four principles constitute the medium through which the consciousness acts. Antakarana distinguishes human beings from the plant, animal, and mineral kingdoms. In these lower forms of life, Antakarana exists in a dormant and tamasic seed state. These creations of nature do not operate from the level of intellect, discrimination, thought, or ego, but from the level of pure instinct. For example, a dog will instinctively prefer meat to vegetables. He does not consciously discriminate one from the other. It is a natural instinctive process which governs his body. However, in the case of man, this faculty has gradually evolved to its present capacity. Man has emerged victorious over all other forms of life by the strength of his inner faculty, which has given him the power to reason, think, plan, remember, and enact. However, the intellectual supremacy of man does not in any way complement the full potential of the Antakarana. It is just a mere glimpse of the power that it contains. If the performance of this instrument reaches its full capacity, man can not only control the inferior creations of nature, but also the latent forces within himself, which have the inherent power to create, preserve, and destroy. Thus, he would become a co-creator or an instrument, one with nature, replicating her cosmic process. The yogis who have attained the power to do so achieve this rare feat by exploring the mysteries of this inner instrument, the Antakarana. Notice that she says here, you will become a co-creator with the power to create, preserve, and destroy. Generator, operator, destroyer, God. Low key, tongue in cheek.
Become one with the force.
Become one with the force.
Hey, Trav.
Yo.
And then just a little further down is actually one of my favorite parts. I got to highlight it. It says the physical evolution of man today stands complete. He may grow shorter or taller, fatter or thinner, but the next stage of evolution belongs to the realm of consciousness. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Sri Aurobindo, there it goes, talks about the superhuman race, where man has achieved this higher state of mind. Superhuman race is a term which implies mental, emotional, rational, and above all, spiritual development of man at its zenith.
Yo, Malik Suit Anu, you know who that man is? You, my nigga. Why you want to give that to somebody else? This is what I'm saying. We read in the book that's giving it to us right here. According to Tantra and Yoga, these four principles constitute the medium through which the consciousness acts. It's giving you that, the Antakarana. So when a person said, well, where's this consciousness and how you gonna know? Yo, it's coming through your physical body. It's acting through these elements, through Rajas, Tamas. It's a whole system for you to break down to every component of human being. So you ain't got to be in this mystery fight with people always saying but.
But hear me out, brother. Here, check this out though. What y'all fail to understand is
this is, however, in the case of man, this faculty has gradually evolved to its present capacity. Man has emerged victorious over all other forms of life by the strength of this inner faculty, which has given him the power to reason, think, plan, remember, and enact, which has given him the power. Nigga, you ain't your own power. We don't generate our own power. The power is generated by the force that we don't comprehend, but we're trying to reverse ourselves to comprehend. The inner yogin.
That part.
I like how she also says that the Antakarana, it doesn't just have knowledge of this present experience. Oh, damn. I think it kicked Chungo out. The Antakarana doesn't just have knowledge and experience of right now, but it also contains knowledge of the entire universe, of the whole cosmos. It's constantly in communion and connection with every level of frequency that there is. It's constantly in communication with it. But the reason that we don't experience that is because of those 5 different veils of Maya, and also because our personal Antakarana isn't fine-tuned. It's blunt. It's basic. We only use it to operate through the indriyas, the 5 senses. But if we do the work to start to refine it, we can start to pick up these subtle frequencies, these subtle experiences. For example, smell, that's probably the most dense frequency, right? And then, of course, taste, and then sight, and then sound is a little bit less dense, and then it continues to get more and more fine until we get to like psychic abilities, right? And it gets even more fine until we get to the undifferentiated frequencies of these higher realms. But you're not going to just perceive them just because you want to. The tool to pick up those frequencies has to be refined. And that's what we're doing in meditation and in Tattwa Shuddhi. We're going within ourselves and refining those receptors. So it's not like we're separate at all. It's not like we have to go out and achieve anything. We just have to come to the point where we realize the connection that already exists. You're talking about me dropping too much, Shango. They went ahead and kicked you off.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Some of them, we'll just leave it alone, Trav. This book is giving it to you straight, flat forward. Anybody, this is the highest level of interaction when it's called, no one's teaching anybody. We're learning together. We're peers. We're all deities, and this is our plane of existence. We're not at, this ain't the Mahabharata. We ain't at war right now. So we learning the knowledge of balance. And that's why they've been putting a trickery game on us for so long, because they'll call it that, the science of balance. And they'll take bits and pieces of these books, which you got to think, what's this book from 1980, 1982?
84.
What the fuck was going on the whole 80s in the United States?
Correct.
The whole crack epidemic going on.
Correct.
While other people in the background studying this shit.
Damn.
You see what I'm saying? What I mean about pockets of opening up energy pathways. We're a brain, Trav. This is everything that we're experiencing is minute compared to the universe. We think we that deep.
Or rather, the ego, Ahamkara,
Thinks it's that deep.
Because what we are is one and the same as the universe, but it's because we attach to that Ahamkara, that ego.
When you die, all you do is jump back into a big ass swimming pool.
Yeah.
You don't be the body, you don't be the bones, you don't be nothing. But you can bring some shit that you didn't learn, because you're a reflection of everything. So you even the reflection of your samskaras. But you can release. But when you manifest in the physical, you're supposed to be getting more powerful and powerful and powerful. So you release the impression. You get the smudge off. And then you jump back in the fucking pool, and now you're the pool. You're the water, you're the pool. How simple is that to get? And it just keeps going. The dimensions of the mind. On page 51, it says the Antakarana functions through the conscious, subconscious, and unconscious realms, creating gross, subtle, and casual experiences as the Antakarana has evolved out of a combination of the 3 gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. The quality of the experience is largely determined by the pervading influence of these cosmic principles. Manas, Chitta, Buddhi, and Ahamkara behave differently under the sway of Sattva as opposed to Rajas and Tamas, and thus manifest differently in the three states of awareness. That's a whole fucking tantric system explained right there. So if you want your influence of your consciousness to be changed by the higher power, right? What's the system that you can use? Tattwa Shuddhi. You can become a sat. All you doing is focusing on sattvic shit. What you think a person really want when they go vegan? It's not just about the eating of all vegetation and no air. It's about the very essence of why you even want to do that shit.
Right.
Because sattva is trying to balance you. So now let's go ahead and hurt some feelings. So the people who be vegan, that's their dharma. People who eat meat, that's what they do. It is none of my business. It's not my business to enforce, because you have your own tamas, rajas, and sattva balance that needs to be with you individually as a fucking vibration on the physical form.
Right. Then we see that with Ayurveda, with each individual type, you got certain.
Each individual type has their own diet. So why you think the gorilla is that? Shit, that's what his genetic structure created him to be. And if you want to get funky, take it back to the Bhagavad Gita and read the commentary between Arjuna and Krishna. Arjuna had a job to do based off of his genetic structure of being born through a particular bloodline from a particular people at a particular time, that his only fucking job was to scorch the fucking earth when a nigga wanted war. I don't care if it's your mama. Pretty much, that's what Krishna was basically like. No, like, yo, it's not your, that don't got nothing to do with what you feeling right now. You done allowed something to change your mind from your duty. So if a person wants to go vegan, that was and they're becoming successful in it, that was a part of their duty.
Mm-hmm.
It was a part of their karma. You might have to do something else that somebody else don't do. It might not be just becoming vegan. Don't mean that you can. Some people will live very healthy and they're still eating meat. They just regulate what they fucking eat. No different than what this is. The functions, Antakarana functions through the consciousness, subconsciousness, and unconscious realms. This book is giving you the actual tools, ancient tools, globally, to function in them three fucking realms. So if you functioning within those three realms, and you've balanced your elemental self, tamas and rajas and all, you've balanced that, then you think you're gonna be struggling for material shit? All of that becomes unnecessary, but it also comes to you constantly. You keep getting it. Because you know why? Because you ain't fucking desiring it. You're not stressing for it.
And you're aligned with it as opposed to, trying to chase something.
Now you understand why it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil. Love is a desire. When the motherfuckers let their desire get overpowering rational thinking, they'll do anything to get something to satisfy it. That's why crack was, like I said, now do the science to crack. It was keeping niggas away from this type of information. Crack, that shit changed your genetic structure. That shit took you away from even being in control of anything about yourself. That's why they're making weed stronger and stronger. All they're doing is increasing what's already in the plant. They're increasing the potency of the psychotropic element of the plant.
Man,
To not just give you, to not really give you a sedative state where you euphoric and you chilling. No, that shit is communicating with you. That's why that's why the language has changed to lit and turn up. Weed is not really supposed to be a turn up drug. You know what I'm saying?
I'm looking now and seeing, I mean, and I saw it a few years ago, but I don't know. I've seen some of the stuff people are doing online where they got that, what do you call that stuff? The dab stuff.
They got more potent. And that's science.
They stacking it up. I seen some dude, you know, make some art out of it, layer it up into this gigantic thing. And how can you get that high so constantly?
That's the reverse of sattva.
Look, I went to a party, it was a few years ago, with some of my brothers. And, you know, of course, they spoke a whole lot more than I. So they were used to it. You know what I'm saying? They spoke regularly. It wasn't no thing to smoke, pass around blunts, whatever. We went to this party and this dude put out a dab for the first time I ever seen it. He had this big ass bong and he had this liquid stuff. He's like, y'all got to try this, man. This dude, da 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 da. I wasn't going to touch it. But my brothers, you know, they smoke all the time. It wasn't nothing. They hit that thing. The whole apartment got quiet. Nobody was saying nothing. My brother's like, I'm ready to go home. Take me home now. Them boys got scared. Look, I don't like this. We gotta go.
That thing triggered. That thing communicated with them because it's a high potency. It's what we're reading. You can apply the same level of degrees of breaking science down to what level it is. That dab split their motherfucking neural passageways so powerfully. You ain't even having fun no more.
Wasn't even having fun no more. The room got quiet. Everybody's face got serious. Hey man, can you take me home?
Like, yo, I'm ready to go home, man. Like, goddamn.
Oh.
So do we need to stop at the hospital?
I felt it.
But that's the whole thing. So think about, and all I keep saying is just think about. I want people to always be abstractly thinking. You don't think there's somebody that then use this against us? Against people? When I say us, I'm talking about people. You don't think that somebody out here said, okay, we're going to have a major course. We're going to study this, and we're going to study how the process of controlling the gunas for the purpose of mind control.
Ooh.
That you study, you got a course that a motherfucker that a person you can go to, and the first thing they do in the course, they got to prepare you for that shit. All kind of megahertz sounds, bells, mantras you got to do, and that's all you do, and that's all you become. A special forces individual for the purpose of you mind. All you do is use mantra on a motherfucker. You mantra the master tape of somebody's song before it goes on the radio. How dangerous is that? That in the background, and I made music in studios. It's easy to put something else in the background of a song playing, and the whole time it's sending out some fucking spell on your ass.
Oh yeah.
So think about the things that we don't control on the globe, on a global level, and how people, because once you know the energy is energy, whether we label it good or bad, whether we label it right or left path, whatever, there's somebody that's always going to be opposed to you. Because like I said earlier, they represent the internal fight that constantly goes on between, not between, but by you becoming physical matter, you're fighting always with that process. And you read that earlier. So if you ain't in control of your subconscious, unconscious, and conscious realms, creating gross, subtle, and casual experiences, that's what's happening. We're not doing any fucking thing. And then she says, it is evident that in these three states of consciousness, Antakarana is under the sway of the three gunas, modifying itself to the guna which is predominant at any particular time. And that's on page 51.
Different aspects of Antakarana behave differently under the three gunas.
Mm-hmm. And on 51, it tells you, it says dimensions of consciousness, it mentions them. The mind is classified. So even once you start learning this through self-study, you'll begin to recognize the four stages of the mind: Jagriti, conscious mind; Swapna, subconscious; Sushupti, unconscious; and Turiya, transcendental. So you'll be able to utilize those. I was doing a study the other day on just those, the four states of consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jagrat, swap, and this is what I got from it, from putting this with the gamma, the waves of the brain. Jagrat, which is the waking state, is consciousness, which we know consciousness is gamma, is beta waves. So when you go into the swapna mind, that's the dream state. Even dream is still consciousness. Sushupti is deep sleep consciousness, and Turiya is higher consciousness. So Turiya is basically cannot be labeled by the common identifiers of science, because that's beyond. It's not just your sleep and you're in REM sleep. You're beyond what is considered sleep when you go into these different realms of consciousness. So Sushupti is delta waves, Svapna is theta waves, Jagrat is gamma and beta waves. And if you deal with these in hertz, you deal with, when you're dealing with beta, that's 15 to 30 hertz. So you can use hertz. So when you listen to like binaural beats and stuff like that, and they have them hertz, that's what you can use to trigger different multiple states of consciousness, so you can actually go into these realms. But it all begins with your first stage is Shuddhi. You have to purify yourself.
That's where it starts. And it's ironic because, and I get why people react this way, but we get scared of all these threats and we focus our attention on all these threats, right? Oh, they're doing this to us. We got to protect ourselves against that. And they're doing this to us. They're doing this. And if you stay in that mindset, you're going to notice that there's an overwhelming amount of things you need to protect yourself from, right? You got chemtrails over here, you got GMO food, you got robot dog things coming soon. You got zombie apocalypse, narrated by the government now. You got all kinds of different stuff. What is it? They're promoting a gay agenda in the movies. All kinds of stuff that people are scared of these days. It outnumbers any common sense. So why spread your focus so thin when you can go within and focus on fortifying yourself so that none of those things that you're so afraid of has an impact on you? Like that, doesn't it make sense? Instead of focusing on all these different enemies, why not focus on fortifying so that none of those enemies matter. That's how I see it, at least. I don't work on a bunch of different protection spells. I work on making sure that I am so secure that it doesn't matter what comes my way. I'm good.
You're supposed to be in a constant state of protection, not even consciously always in that state. That's what what she's saying. You can operate in these multiple levels of consciousness, not always having to be within the consciousness of operating in those realms. That you done already master yourself to the point where you can be cognitive of this moment right now, but be subconsciously doing something that has to do with what's going on right now on purpose.
Yeah.
So and as you go back to Dharana Darshan, it tells you that you should never be having a thought that you don't purposely want to have.
Right.
That's the main thing. It's not just having unpurposeful thoughts, having unpurposeful stimuli. Shit just stimulating you just because that's what social media. I'm not against social media, but I'm gonna just say what it is. That's what that shit is. It's just overstimulation.
Right.
It's never stops.
Scattered. It never stops. And a mind that's already scattered is not doing you any kind of favors.
The dissipated mind should be an example of the. You could scroll endlessly on any one of our apps. It never gets back to a beginning point.
Nope.
Only thing that it do, sometimes your phone had to pause for a minute so it can do what? Refresh the rest of the thousands of posts you can keep. It never, ever ends. The internet never goes off.
Oh, I'm talking about YouTube, Facebook, TikTok.
It's never an ending
Instagram,
point.
You can scroll Twitter. You scroll.
YouTube do not go off at 11 p.m.
No. And when you turn your phone off, you get a notification. Hey, did you miss me? Got some more stuff.
So why do you think our inner tool been so messed up, man? When people started able to afford TVs, the television networks was able to manipulate the minds of people and consider them first class, middle class, lower class. They start labeling all kind of shit based off of what people were able to afford, and all the information came through on the waves, radio waves, television waves. When you study the biblical information, see, I studied multiple shit as a poor righteous teacher. You're supposed to study all things on the globe. So Christianity was one of them. That's why they always say Lucifer or Satan operates through the atmosphere. The atmosphere is what? It's what the fucking waves travel through. So that means that they're nothing but influences. They're nothing but what? Another radio station to tune into.
Oh, man.
Nigga, if you scared to tune into Satan 909.9, then don't turn to that station, motherfucker.
Man. Hold up now. Wait a minute.
And some niggas is FM and some niggas is AM.
You tell me the original influencers were the fallen angels?
Well, the influencers, man. And why do you think that has become a title for a practice that's a job now?
A whole job.
Niggas was getting fucking arrested for being under the influence. Like, yo, it's not my fault. I watch YouTube. It told me to drink the whole bottle of grain alcohol. So I'm just under the influence of this. I just watched the awesome movie yesterday. Here's my randomness. I watched The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm watching this movie, I'm listening to it. I'm like,
Where'd you watch it at?
I actually watched it on my Fire Stick yesterday.
What? But on like Cody or something?
No,
HBO Max.
I have what you
Thank
call APKs that you download onto your Fire Stick, and then you can,
Right.
you know, people upload it on there, and it just, you
Yeah.
know, it just plugs me into the matrix.
Yeah, well, that's what Cody is. You saw everything that's free, like everything in the theaters.
Yeah.
That's brand new.
I don't use Cody anymore. That's what I originally started out with, using
Yeah.
Cody. I used to have all the fancy back screens and all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But then I just changed over to just downloading individual APKs, you know. But
Yeah.
I watched it, right? So I'm listening to this thing. I'm listening to the dialogue because I already know who the Warrens are because they would, you know, they was in Connecticut. So I actually met Miss Lorraine Lauren before, you know what I'm saying? I had dialogue with her. She did a presentation at this place I was working at. It's crazy shit. So I'm listening. I'm like, damn, this shit talking about Connecticut. But the whole thing about this movie was the influence that this individual lady had with her spell working with this. And this was, you know, this was all actual facts. You know what I'm saying? She had an altar where she was doing her work at this altar, and she had bound this kid, you know what I'm saying, to all kind of shit she was doing. I'm just making it short, but she bound it all up. But the whole thing, what made me laugh was that what shocked Lorraine Warren when she was locked into, she actually teleported her, she took her spirit self and went to this lady's altar, right? But you know what the lady did? Went right back to where Lorraine was at in her fucking reality and was fucking with made a whole dead body come after her ass. And Lorraine was like, oh shit, it works both ways.
Right.
This is the kind of shit that people been doing. The only reason she was able to, that shit takes what? High concentration. We ain't been, a lot of people at their concentration, see, that's what they taking people concentration away.
Yes.
If you always
separates a powerful occultist versus a basic person. Focus and concentration.
Focus and concentration, man.
Trying to get across. But who's listening, man? Who's listening? I don't know.
You could do that same shit. She was like, oh shit, she could see both. How powerful are you? Like, bitch, you got me fucked up. If you think you gonna come to my altar and I can't come and tear your whole head off. I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example that's what we're capable of doing, and that's what people doing, that they're now restructuring their atomic level. They're fucking with subatomic particles. And it's laid out. So the Ahamkara is what I just saw the word. It just really, that's where that cheetah, they all work together. You have to know those four minds. Cheetah is going to build up that memory to start generating them vrittis and all that, some skara to keep coming back up. We call it, you know, so like we're doing this week shadow work. That's the people that's stuck in some skaras. It's like being in a washing machine and just keep washing your ass over and don't never stop spinning. And the clothes ain't never getting clean. It's just agitating the shit out you, but nothing getting clean.
Mm.
So that's what most people ain't able to fight that. Be like, yo, swim to the shore, my nigga, and you can get out, you know what I'm saying? But your ego, you're fighting your ego, telling you sometimes your ego is weak, make you weak. You ain't strong enough to swim over there. There's too much waves. You're right, I can't make it. They've been hitting us with this, Trav.
I I'd love to put more emphasis on the strengthening of the self, because when we really look at how this thing is all laid out, when we work on strengthening the self, it don't matter what's going on out here. When we look at this layout of the mind, we look out the role that Ahamkara plays, ego, it's its own agency. Ahamkara is not for you. It's a rogue agent. He's doing his own thing. Ahamkara thinks it exists, and it does everything to preserve that existence, good or bad for you. And when I say you, I mean, we got your physical body, we got that Ahamkara, and then we have higher consciousness. You're not Ahamkara, I'll tell you that, and you're not the body. What you call you is a combination of all those things, but the real you is that higher self, the part of you that is not under the influence of the gunas. See, that's what makes the Ahamkara different from Buddhi. That's what makes Ahamkara different from higher intellect, because Ahamkara is under the influence of the princes and powers and principalities of the air. Ahamkara is under the influence of the physical environment. It's under the influence of memories. It's under the influence of everything around us. Higher self is not, because higher self is beyond time and space. It's beyond the physical objective reality. It exists in a place that is before Ahamkara gets his hands and his opinions and his labels on it. But see, most people are operating from Ahamkara level. So, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you got to get rid of your ego and be spiritual. You know, people that obviously don't know what they're talking about. I'm seeing it now. Most of the internet does not know what they're talking about. But when you look at ego and you look at all the information and the advice that people are giving from their ego, we now realize that what these people are saying is coming from their past experiences, is coming from the things that they like and dislike, is coming from all these conditions. It is not spiritual. It just sounds good. For something to really be spiritual, it's coming from a place that is beyond time and space, beyond objective conditioning. Now, if you understand that, now you can start to tell who you're listening to that is pure entertainment and who you're listening to that actually has something to say for your higher self.
And then she breaks it down beautifully in here, page 53, what you just said. About, it says the Ahamkara or ego forms the nucleus of existence within an individual. It is only on account of the ego that you relate to things around you. If there was no ego, you would just like a plant or vegetable having no knowledge of your existence. But once you read that, the ego is multi-level. If you continue to read, it says the functions of Ahamkara are affected by the three qualities of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Sattva Ahamkara is responsible for the notion that I am and acts as a catalyst in the process of self-realization. Ahamkara stirs up some skaras or latent impressions from the subconscious mind, but under the influence of Sattva or balance, it temporarily withdraws this function. And then it tells you about Rajas, and everybody read it. But the whole thing is, you have a subtle Ahamkara, and then you have a gross Ahamkara. And that's what level of Ahamkara we're operating from. We're operating in all the gross elemental forms of all the subtle forms of these things. So it's like the dirtiness. So when you basically talk about, a person is, when we go through a process and we go through, I personally call it inner engineering or inner reconstruction. Most people, they're calling it shadow work. Basically, we're going into the basements, we're going into the attics, and we're going into places where our mind calloused over this thing, our gross spiritual level calloused over because something bruised us and it was hurt and it hurted, and the wound never healed. It left a scar and it was motherfucking calloused, which means that this samskara just wasn't a victory and left an impression. This motherfucker dug some meat out and it hurt. So now we got to go back to revisit that shit, whatever each individual got to go through. And now you have to meditate there. You got to stand right there where that scar is at. And you got to calm yourself from the subtle Ahamkara. That's what the forgiveness. It's not forgiving, it's giving up.
Mm-hmm.
It's forgiving. It's like I'm giving back the identity of what I thought really hurt me. It didn't hurt me. It was a lesson. It was an experience. Because there is no me to hurt. Who's the me that's hurting?
There. Notice how you're reframing the situation there.
Who is the me that got hurt? Where does that person exist from who I think I am? And that's the ego. Ahamkara is I-ness. The process says is I am and acts as a catalyst in the process of self-realization. So the Ahamkara does what? The Ahamkara is a veil center because it blocks the process of self-realization. The veil is the gross level. It's putting on the sheaths, putting on a jacket to close over. The person is, being always ashamed of something, of the physical form. They'll cover it up. That's why they put all these filters. I'm gonna tell you a secret, I'm gonna whisper. They put all these filters on there because to know that you have access to something to cover something up, you're looking for something to cover up so you can use the thing that they gave you to cover it up.
Damn. You mean the solution creates the problem?
They did it on purpose. Why put it there? You want to have fucking green eyes and you change your whole skin tone, change to make your fucking face look so oil of Olay beautiful.
It's just devil horns.
Devil. And that shit is cool to do shit like that, but people take that stuff serious. That becomes what? That becomes their avatar.
I've seen some people, some people I've never seen without a filter on.
That's some interesting stuff.
Yeah, it is. I've never seen your face without that filter.
But we know so now we know where that come from. So that's like a test question. If you was a professor, where does that come from, everybody? Ahamkara. From the cheetah, the memory, making it like that. It makes you, it's coming from your own self. The very same, isn't that rough as a human to take? Like, damn, so you mean, man, the very same broken me is the very same powerful me that's gonna help me become my superpower me?
Yes.
Like, yeah, there's nobody coming to save you. Damn.
Ultimate catch-22.
The human being human.
Antakarana is the tool that we have. It must be refined. And Ahamkara is a part of it. But that's the part, it needs to be put in its place, right? Because the Ahamkara is the only aspect of us that enjoys pleasure and experiences pain. So it really has a large part in running the show because it is it has the most intense experience. We feel that pleasure and that pain, so we identify with it so close. But it's gotta be.
And as you said, it's the Ahamkara that one. It's the Ahamkara, but it's not just that. It's the guna, rahas,
Yeah.
tamas, and then it's either tamas, rahas, or either rahas, tamas, sattva. So now it's a code. It's a genetic code that we know if it's RS plus what has become, it's genetically modified. It's meaning that genetically the goodness has been taken out. Oh, so now we got to go back to the science of Yakub now, don't we?
Uh-oh.
With the grafting, let me not even do it. Grafting the other man from the original man seed. all he really did was he separated, he took Sattvic out of that shit.
Diminished the Sattvic level.
I'm not gonna go into the, you know what I'm saying, the other side, because it's some people is disrespectful. But there's a science to that. People, that's what we gotta fix. People gotta realize, like, yo, look at your own self, man. What's missing out of your motherboard? Or what's being used? Why do you think the cell phone? You can go to your cell phone and see what is using up most of the power. Either you've been on, to tell you how long you've been on Facebook, Instagram, all of that shit. If they can break down a computer and an app, you can go to, of course, everybody knows you can go on YouTube and go look and see how many people watch your videos. The algorithm of that. If they make an algorithm for a computer, you don't think you are a fucking algorithm?
Absolutely. Multiple
And
algorithms.
it's nothing. Algorithms are what, Trav? Mathematic equations. This is, we're really not reading the words of what these yogins and swamis talk. We're actually seeing the mathematical equation.
Right.
That's what makes sense. It mathematically adds up to the truth.
If you really pay attention, like if you read a lot, you can start to hear the author's voice. But a strange thing happens when you start reading these particular characters: Satya Sangananda, Niranjanananda, Satyananda,
Yeah.
Sivananda. They all start to sound the same. Like they're writing. Even Vivekananda, their writing style sounds like the same voice. It's as if they've tapped into this specific algorithm that's it's like they literally tapped into a frequency and they're recording it.
Mm-hmm.
This couple of Niranjananda's books I have, he wrote in a day or two, right? These people are channeling energy. It's not their ego. This isn't their Ahamkara writing.
Listen to what you're saying, Trav. Just pause. That's what they did with the Vedas. They got information directly from the source.
Yeah.
And they just wrote the shit. It didn't come. Sivananda and them, they didn't sit there as an author and think about the components of how to write this and be like, yeah, that right there would be a very good process in good spirits. I mean, right there. No, them niggas, they went into meditation, man.
Yeah.
And this information came to them. And they're not even the makers of this information. This is older than them.
This is older than countries. This is older than races. Hey, Sivananda, this line right here, this gonna kill him, man. Check this out. No,
that's why we could meditate and now I think we should be mature enough to say the word meditate and know what real meditation really is. I don't want to, I guess this is my disclaimer. I don't want to use that word and thinking that when I say meditate, you thinking I'm motherfucking talking about folding legs crossed all of them. No, it's a deeper essence of meditation. When we meditate, we're not doing it to make us feel any way. We're doing it to go get information from the Himalayan masters. You can open yourself as a channel for Sivananda and if these niggas, if they were capable of not dying but returning to the essence on purpose, you don't think they can come? You could contact that pure energy force?
Well, I like to see it almost as if they became pure math. Like this whole Prakriti, this whole manifestation here is a giant set of algorithms.
Damn.
And every algorithm can be examined individually. So it's almost as if they purified themselves down to a pure algorithm. An algorithm is timeless.
And numbers can recycle back into each other. Mathematics is a reason. That's why you add and you can subtract, and it's not taking away. It's just recomputating it. It's just, it's just reorganizing it. So then that just makes sense that you said they just.
I actually had that experience recently in a meditation I did, in a Tattwa Shuddhi meditation. I had that experience of becoming an equation. And then I got real scared. And I was like, all right, I'm good. Put me back.
Kind of like my brothers when they hit that dab.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I guess so. I don't know his personal story, but yeah, that was an interesting experience. That's what, and I think that really has some truth to it. If everything is a pattern, and we ourselves, as we constantly affirm that we are yantras, we are part of a circulating pattern. To be in one with ourselves, we would have to dematerialize and change to fit into that form, however it changes. What kind of confuses me about it is that we already are in a form. So like, what is this form in comparison to kind of the other way of being, if that makes sense?
What is this form in comparison to the other way of being?
Yeah, like, okay, so we're in human form right now, and there are animals, and there are stairs, and there's metal, there are all these elements and all of that are different combinations, right?
Different combinations of the same thing.
Right. So it's like,
What if you're in your planet form? Instead of saying like the human body, where actually you're in your planet form, you're a planet.
So all those things that you named would be classified under, because really the higher up we go, we only have two categories, right?
Yeah.
Much.
Well, yeah, I guess so.
What are those two categories?
Purusha and
Prakriti.
But Prakriti is this is Prakriti. This is nature.
Everything that can be cognized will go under the category of Prakriti.
Yeah, but but that makes sense, because this is the physical, and then there's the non-physical. So those are the two realms. Purusha, we have no comprehension of what's popping off there, but we have the Prakriti, because we're in the Prakriti right now.
Even so, for what she was saying though, this form versus that form. So everything that can be cognizable, everything that can be cognizable, everything that can fit into a pattern, that includes your mind and your thoughts and any idea of anything you could ever have. All that's Prakriti.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that you can name, single out, that's all Prakriti.
And just think about the whole thing being mathematics. The reason why we line up with our natal chart is based off of mathematics, the mathematical movements of each planet. So it's the planet movement, but it's also the mathematics based off of the degrees, and the degrees are based off of time. And the reason time and degrees and space and all of that even matters is because we're in matter. None of that matters in Purusha. Timing don't matter in the spirit realm, only here.
Timing is an aspect of Maya. It's that kala.
Death. One of the weapons of Yama. Father time, old Saturn.
So everything that has a form is going to be affected by one of those 5 veils of Maya.
Damn, man. That shit
The more subtle forms, they're affected less, but even your ideas are affected by time. Even your ideas are affected by desire.
Damn, but I just now looked up at the book on page 55. It says, when tamas influences chitta, undesirable samskaras well up. Thus, the individual is clouded by vasanas, deep-rooted desires, pushing all the good samskaras into obscurity. So it's just clouds upon, it ain't just, even in the physical sky, it's not just one cloud up there. It's a whole bunch of them. So think about how important this cleansing process, Tattwa Shuddhi, really is to help you get, you can't help nobody unless you Shuddhi your own self.
Because those other subtle forms of matter will begin to get in the way. And like I said,
You always
thoughts.
fooling yourself.
Thoughts, ideas, concepts, all these are aspects of matter too.
Once you
Why Ahamkara can be such a problem.
damn, think about mastery as the level of no more, you won't feel disappointment. That's another thing you have to let go too, is the beating up of self. You know what I'm saying? Of always feeling disappointed if something happens. But now you should understand, like, look at how many different layers of illusion you got to go through. What if a person never took off the old makeup that they had on and they just fixed their face up with another layer of makeup, and they just kept doing that over and over and over again? It'd be like the crust of the earth. It'd be civilizations built upon civilizations.
What's that skin on the underneath look like?
You're gonna be looking so devastating.
The sweat won't be able to come out. The oils won't be able to escape.
That's what we're covered up with, man. With just layers upon layers of shit that we remember that time we went to that motherfucking picnic. Some nigga fucking kept looking at me, chump, trying to think I'm some chump nigga, but you never did nothing. That shit been burning you up ever since that happened. You never let that moment go. This dude looked at you wrong. You didn't do anything, and now you've been angry for 15 years.
Or how many times have you said something stupid, right? And then you still kick yourself to this day about that. Nobody cares.
Man.
Damn, I said that. That was so fucking stupid. I shouldn't have said that.
You know how many
8 years.
You know how many rich people? Okay, I'm gonna use it. Think about, nigga. Think about, you ever play school sports? What if you the nigga that missed the shot at the buzzer to fucking lose the championship game? Boy, you never recover from that shit.
Yikes.
Every time niggas see you, they're like, God damn, and they make some stupid 3, 2, 1, and you got to relive that shit over and over. You be like, nah, niggas don't know. Secretly, you didn't have to go to counseling behind that shit.
No.
But that's the samskara. I'm using that as an example. I didn't know people like that play sports. Like, one dude was that he missed it. He missed the shot. To this day, if he goes back home, the first thing out of anyone's mouth is like, God damn, if you'd have made that shot, cheeks.
Oh, hell no.
You got to relive it all the time. So think about, we go through life, all of that shit, vasanas, deep-rooted desires, pushing all the good samskaras into obscurity. Because even though you have samskaras, it doesn't make all of them tamas or rajas. You have sattvic samskaras. They're supposed to be, everything's supposed to be balanced. You got some samskara sprinkle here, you got a little rajas. It's like a taco. You know what I'm saying? And don't everybody make tacos? Don't nobody all make tacos the same? That's one thing that everybody has globalized, that the taco. You come to my house, I guarantee you I'm not making it the same as at your house. That's how that's your system, right? So I just now put everybody in the game. If you want to figure out the whole Vedic system, correlate that shit to a taco. You're supposed to make your own taco to how you like that. You can still eat somebody else's taco. You might have to be like, y'all don't eat tomatoes, you know what I'm saying? You just take that off. But you're going to still take the taco. So that's the whole thing. You still, it's the process of of evolution. How are you going to evolve? So each one of us, like I said, we a peer group. Everybody's a poor righteous teacher right now, you know what I'm saying? And a poor righteous learner. You're the 5%. That's why the nation of God's, that's why Elijah, they made them lessons to say there's 5% who know who the true and living God is and know that the 10% are the fucking wicked bloodsuckers of the poor, and the 85% are the fucking masses, the motherfucking deaf, dumb, and blind. Hard to lead in the wrong direction, but easy to lead in the right. I mean, easy to lead in the wrong direction, but hard to lead in the right direction. That's 85% of everything. That system of mathematics, there's 5% of us right now to deal with the magic society as a whole. Out of the whole fucking number, it's only going to be 5% who are going to be the true and living gods. There's going to be 10% who only in that group trying to do something else that don't got nothing to do with the fucking platform of why that group was developed. They're trying to sell you some shit. That's the blood suckers of the fucking poor. And the 85% people who never left the group, hanging out and fucking doing that shit, who sucking in all the shit that don't got nothing to do with high elevation, 85% niggas, deaf, dumb, and blind. Church is only going to be 5% of it, and it's going to be righteous. They're really, they don't give a fuck about what the white Jesus. Them motherfuckers going there sincerely. Their heart is really Christos when they go to church. It's only going to be 5%. Them 10%, half of them motherfuckers up in the goddamn choir, all the deacon board motherfuckers and all of them 10% blood sucking the rest of the people, acting a fool. 85% the rest of the people in the church is doing what? Sucking it all in, just deaf, dumb, and blind. Just sitting there like,
Yeah.
All that shit. So apply that shit now, apply that to yourself. 5, 10, who are you? Are you the 85%? Are you the 10%? Do you manipulate people sometimes? Once in a while, you rajas? You know what I'm saying? You fucking finesse, get a little bit of, or you the 5%. It's called the poor righteous teachers. Because they ain't really looking for nothing from nobody. You know, I'm gonna drop, we're gonna get the science. Let's all learn, you know what I'm saying? I ain't the teacher, it's gonna enlighten you. But we're gonna be peer. I want you to show me how this science is supposed to work. They giving this, they ain't giving this for freedom. But then people at Berkeley pay for this information, man. I guarantee if you go to any, I might have to do it, y'all. I think I might have to make some videos, and I'm gonna go to different libraries just to see what kind of Eastern books they got in there. Let's see if they got these Tattwa Shuddhis. I'm gonna do that. I think that might be my thing. I'm gonna go to libraries and see which one of these libraries got these fucking books in there.
Yeah.
Do Yale have these books in their libraries that you can, as a student, could go in and ask for? They be like, no, we don't have that, but we do have some other manuscripts in the back. You'll come, I have to make an appointment. What they got? They got thousands of self-help people that have been helping themselves or helping other people by using this, breaking down the Panchatattva. Panchatattva. That's why they get rid of the 5%. The 5%. They don't want you speaking. Why do you think certain YouTube channels be fucking getting turned off? Like, yo, that nigga was, you didn't drop some information that only a 5% person can know. Now these 10%ers are like, oh no, you think you're getting smart, huh? Let me go ahead and suspend your ass.
Yikes. I'm being shadow banned.
You know, that's what they, and it still be like that. That's what they did to young Pharaoh, didn't they? He was dry. He said something. Boy, talk about them small hats. Boy, your whole station shut down for that. You gotta keep your mouth closed about these people out here, man. They think this is a game. Can't rip no shit off about these small hats. Some people run the food industry. How can you fight against somebody who run the Food and Drug Administration, man? You don't think they didn't came across Satvik Foods and Raha? What about the buildings that they process the food in that we eat? The packaging. Travis, so many layers of Tattwa Shuddhi that we got to go through, man. People got to go through anything that's in a box. I used to work at this company here in Florida. It's called Signature Brand. So you go to the grocery store, all the cake icing and shit like that, stuff you put on the cakes, look at the bottom and you'll see it's a Signature Brand. It makes a major company, right? I used to run this machine and it had these little cups and it had like chocolate. We used to use this like put on cake, like chocolate crunched up cookies or something like that, what it was. And you know what I had to put? I had to spray like carbon monoxide or something into each package before it was sealed and shipped out for somebody to eat. Carbon monoxide, my nigga? That's supposed to be a food preservative?
Doesn't that come out of the back of a car?
Yeah, that's what carbon monoxide is sending you to the grave. So this is what I'm saying about food and the reason why some people find it hard to absorb this type of information and use it because they're so toxic by what they're physically putting in your, just, you know, so never mind what's going into their ear, but what they eating keeps them so sluggish, their blood flowing slow. So they fucking diabetes turns your blood thick. So that's why you become acidic quick, because your blood is not flowing swiftly enough through your veins.
Oh man.
And that's why your heart, high blood pressure, your pipes ain't, your shit is fucking ain't flowing right. And it's based off of people are not eating any type of food that has some nutritional value that's gonna fuel the motherfucking Ahamkara, the physical form of the Atma, which is the Jiva.
Yeah.
So the Jiva, which is the body, the soul activated, it needs nutrients. So the more you take its food product that's nutritious to you, you're able to begin the process of cleansing the 5 elements because you're not sluggish. When you eating all of this nasty stuff all the time, even though if you was to regulate it, I say that if you regulate the toxic intake of certain food products, you won't be so sluggish and your mind won't be in a fog. Because don't forget, your diet affects your thinking. So they can't even get past that form of sickness to clean the next level is the because don't forget, Trav, what we reading is high. Remember what Dharana Darshan said, that was the highest, those are the highest levels of study.
Yeah.
These are doctorate programs that we're reading in the Bihar school type level. This shit here is you getting becoming a practitioner. This ain't entry level.
So look, there's a few more things that I'm going to say about the Antakarana that Might not be fully digested, but it should be heard at least. So first and foremost, Antakarana is the inner tool. It's constantly receiving impressions and frequencies. It doesn't just do it when you want to. It's always receiving. It's a transmitter coming in and going out. Always. It's in tune with higher self and the highest self. So you're never separate. It's just that when you attach to Ahamkara, which is ego, when you attach to that, you're aligning with artificial intelligence. That's what the true matrix is. The true artificial intelligence is when you identify with Ahamkara. It's not bad. It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad guy. It is the demiurge, but it's not what you are. It's just, it's a self-preserving thing. What you are is more than that. So this whole inner tool, which Ahamkara is a part of, which the demiurge is a part of, for all you scared folks out there, it's a piece of it. But this whole tool is always in connection with the higher self and the highest frequency, and also the body. So what we're doing here is we're learning to refine the Antakarana, right? We got to refine it. It must be refined and tuned to higher frequencies of pure energy and consciousness. Because remember, we got pure energy and consciousness. Consciousness is Shiva, pure energy is Shakti. These are the only two things that exist. We have to refine this inner tool so that we can interpret the higher frequencies. So everyone's talking about higher frequencies and vibe higher and doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. What we're doing, because we know what we're talking about, is we're tuning in our inner tool, our mind, right? The higher consciousness, the ego, the mental faculty of thought and counter thought, and also the memory. We're tuning this combined machine so that it's able to perceive the most subtle data of consciousness and pure energy, right? Because even this microphone right here, this is the dense aspect of it, but there's a subtle aspect of it that's very symbolic, and it talks to the subjective realm. Everything has a subtle and symbolic aspect. Now, in order to perceive and communicate with and receive and even push, because we're talking about doing magic here, this all involves fine-tuning that inner instrument, right? Because when you're able to communicate with the higher frequency and the subjective aspect of things, you can move stuff without physically moving it, right? You become a co-creator, like what she said here right there at the beginning of chapter 7. You start to become someone who's able to do things with supernatural means, right? This is becoming less and less far-fetched every day. It should be starting to make a little bit more sense each time. If not, keep reading, keep practicing. So in the beginning of this book, she talked about it's not enough to just study, you got to practice it too. Now, anyways, we're talking about refining your inner tool. What you're doing when you're refining this inner tool is you're refining it and you're becoming aware of what you're refining, right? Because we're just using words here. We don't know what a Ahamkara is or what a booty and a cheetah. We don't know what all that. Those are just words. But in the refinement, we're starting to realize what it is we're refining, right? And what we're refining is pure energy and pure consciousness, right? Remember what I said? We're using this tool to detect pure energy and pure consciousness. We're using the tool to detect the high frequencies of pure energy and pure consciousness. But what we realize in the refinement process is that we are pure energy and pure consciousness. We are that, but we don't know it until we refine our sense. The Antakarana is the tool to be able to perceive the fact that you are Shiva and you are Shakti. You're not, that's it. So it's not just to put it on your Facebook name. I'm Shiva. It's not to put it on your Facebook name. It's to know. And in order to know, you got to do the work. If you didn't do the work, you don't know that you're Shiva. You can say it, but you don't know it. When you know it, there's no need to broadcast it on the internet, because you broadcast it to nature and nature responds. That's a different walk, right? You might be satisfied telling people online, but tell nature that and let nature respond. That's why we refine this tool. And it must be refined so that you can transmit and receive precisely. See, we're like I said, we're always in contact with highest self, but because our tool is not refined, we misinterpret, we delete, we generalize, and we distort, right? In order to correct that process, We've got to refine the inner tool. That's what Tattwa Shuddhi is all about.
I think people fight the hardest with the physical process of that you got to actually do it. It's not a mental thing.
Yeah.
It's not mental magic. You just think it, and so just because you have the potential to empower mental magic don't mean you got it right now. You gotta do some things before that even kicks in. So I think that's the hardest point, man. People, they either think it's capable of somebody else should always impart the information and knowledge to them, or they find it hard to actually got to get up at the Brahma Murti hour and really do a meditation. I really do got to do a particular mantra. I really do have to do my Antakarana. And don't forget that, so you still got the Dharana Darshan. You really got to do this shit, man. I think that's the hardest shit for people to realize, like, yo, you got to physically, if you don't physically do it, you're not going to generate the power and energy to make anything happen.
It's a process that's known through experience, not merely reading words on a paper. The words, this gives you the incentive to begin, and it gives you the technical know-how of what to do, but it has to be done. You don't just read the instruction manual and the bookshelf is built. You gotta actually get the screwdriver and your hammer and build it.
That's why you have the example of those two expressions. One appears not to be doing, but in actuality is doing a whole bunch of shit. You just ain't deep enough to see it. That's Shiva. Another one is moving. So that energy and waves is woman. That's the whole, that feminine energy is always moving. There's always something elegant going on. There's always some expression of beauty that's going on. But in order for you to benefit from that, or even get to that, you're gonna have to work, my nigga. You're gonna have to calm yourself down for a little while. Calm down. Remember, we was young. You about to get a little thing from that older girl, and you be all happy, and you're pulling your pants down all quick. And she be like, "Slow down, relax." That how you suppose she telling your body, relax. You got all the time you need, but you're gonna have to work on first controlling yourself. You ever train a dog before just to sit down on some real sit down? Your dog obey it. It look good when the person be like, sit down, and the dog like, oh shoot. They don't tell you, man, this dog wouldn't listen for shit when I first tried to tell it. That's you. That'd be the hardest point for people, I think, is really getting up. You know how many people can't get out of bed 3:30 in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning and get on their knees and or prostrate themselves or do some kind of sitting stance and be conscious for the purpose of balancing my gunas and my energy so I could be a better person. That's basic shit you can do. You get so much blessings from doing it. If you want to keep the words, so you want to keep it or apply it to spit, or you're going to get something from it, you can only receive the energy of Tattwa Shuddhi by actually doing it. It ain't going to come from listening to fucking, damn sure ain't going to come from me yapping. It ain't coming from reading this fucking book. It ain't coming from you reading this book. It's actually you reading this manual, because it's not really a book. It's a manual of practices. No different if you want to learn how to fix anything. Gotta go get the fucking manual. Or you can be like them, what? 85 dumbasses who will be like, no, I don't never read the manual. I use my instinct to fix this motherfucker. And don't they shit always be fucked up?
Yikes. Don't it say the lower animals only have access to instinct?
Exactly.
I don't need to study. I just pull it from the ether.
I just pull it from the ethers. Wonder why your whole magic and your mind needs medication.
Yikes.
Like, sister.
Yikes.
And it be worse, and it be men and women. So I'm not making nobody special. Both of y'all be looking crazy and dumb and stupid.
Yeah, dumb and stupid.
This shit has changed your whole life. And it changes the people around you. My daughters are so calm. I don't talk to them about this. They're nothing. They be calm. Everything in the house is like quiet, even though they still big kids. But they know certain times they don't even have to make an announcement. Everything just know when it's time. It's supposed to be, we about to get in this work. To make your environment like that. You go outside, people. I be going to the stores. People love, it's like they've been waiting for me to come in. Hey, they be happy and shit. I'm saying there's like, I don't have no aggression towards nobody. Don't nobody come at me with none of those YouTube energy, none of that shit. None of that. I live in fucking Florida. And I live in a small little town where all of that crazy Florida shit go on. Niggas be weirdos, be racist. None of that shit come to me. I equalize and civilize racists in my presence. They don't come with none of that shit. How you doing, sir? I'm doing great, man. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. Man, what? Man, you from around here? I'm like, nah, man. I know it, man. They're loving it. Because you know what? Because I'm balancing my own energy.
Mm-hmm.
Who the fuck can put a spell on me?
Right.
That's what man. I'm saying that. I'm giving my own personal experience by saying you do the work, and the shit start becoming a part of your regiment, meaning that it becomes a personality. It be not just your personality, because you can take a personality on or off. It becomes, you start being the self. Like none of this outside shit don't affect me. I still human. I still see dumb shit. I think some people is dumb as fuck. But yo, you gotta actually do it, man, because reading a book ain't gonna just give it to you. You gotta be like, fuck it. Let me take one piece at a time. Because you got the components. When we do Ahamkara Shuddhi, and then you can correlate if you need something else to correlate it to. Correlate the Ahamkara to the solar plexus. So now you're working on the Manipura. And once you start breaking down the components of yourself, you'll start seeing why you do the things that you do in your own world. When you know you live, whoever lives, when you live in your life, you're doing fuck shit, little petty, corny shit. You'll figure out why you're doing that based off of the explanation of the gunas and apply to what chakra center that is resonating from. That's going to show you what's off balance. So your little petty shit is nothing but an off balance Antakarana.
Under the influence of Tamoguna, more than likely.
Under the influence of something that's an influencer. What's influencing you? Not, because there's a difference between being inspired and being influenced.
Right.
When you're inspired, something is breathing into you, because we know that inspire is Latin, is inspire, which means breathing in. We know that's Hebrew for ruach. Ruach means spirit. So what is lifting what's lifting your spirit more than what's trying to influence you to change, to assimilate? People be assimilating instead of becoming unique in their personality based off of their insecurities, based off of the memory that triggered this insecurity that's been left lingering in their inner tool for 15 years.
Right. And that's a big reason why, I made the post I made about the childhood wounds, because a lot of the suffering that we go through today, we attribute it to some recent event. Oh, she left me, she cheated on me, I knew it was going to happen, that's fucked me up. But not realizing that that's actually connected to something even deeper. If you dig deeper, you'll find that the pain that you have today stems from early childhood, right? So that whole thing, oh, she cheated on me, she left me, I knew it would happen, that comes from a trust and an abandonment issue. You didn't see the seeds that you were planting ahead of time, always accusing her of doing that.
You
didn't
might
see the
have
seeds
been
you were planting of attracting a person like that.
might have been a kid that when every time, you might have been a baby or an adolescent that when your mother dropped you off at daycare, that shit horrified you there.
Yeah, something as simple as that. And we don't realize that
You
until
1
we get
year
back.
old, 2 years old, that shit been horrifying every time your mother left you with people you ain't know.
5 times a week. So we're talking about repetition here, right? And this plants a seed. And of course, we don't remember that. But unless we do the work to go within and really find and rediscover, fill in the blanks of those memories, they will continue to recreate situations that cause the same pain to happen again.
And that is true counseling. When you're able to confront the very, or follow the root of where that shit came from, like you said, what's being demonstrated is stemming from something so far back. It might have been anything. It might have been your first day of school. Some people, when people go through body changes. They go through their teeth change and they grow up, and they were weird and quirky in school. They were always somebody might have been picking with you and all of this, and boom, boom. So the whole thing is eventually you grow up into an adult that had to do what? Survive. And your survival skills has always been one of protecting your insecurities. So all you are is an insecurity fighter. Anything that now you an adult and you're successful and you done did this, anybody that come at you with anything against you, you're firing them and shit like that. Your trumpery. You're always easily irritated. You can. Well, have you ever been around a motherfucker they're doing this shit can't fucking sit still? Like, yo, what's up with you? Man, I'm saying this, I gotta get ready to go. Dude, just motherfucker always got some shit going on. That's a sign of their mind.
Right.
Psychology says you go into somebody's house, the way that their house or their apartment is displayed, that displays their inner atmosphere. Somebody's house is in full shambles when you walk in that motherfucker, that their mind is in full shambles. Their energy is in shambles. Somebody that go in there be like, God damn, your shit is motherfucking hospital clean, some fucking surgery room clean here. They mind operating real meticulous like that, very clean. Don't mean they spiritual. It just mean that they operate on a certain level. So once we start operating on a certain level,
It could also be a sociopath.
Can be a sociopath. They're very, very very organized individuals. They pay attention to full detail. NLP practitioners, that's all they do. It's organized and pay attention to every detail. So it's just each individual, each one of us got to take that time, man, and it tells you who you are in this book. It gives you the tools to work it out. Okay. It says in the last page of that, Trav, the last paragraph of chapter 755 says we have to realize that the main pathway to attainment of self-realization lies through the Antakarana. In order to gain full control over the direction of its development, we will have to turn to tantric and yogic sadhana. And we know sadhana is a practice. In the practice of Tattwa Shuddhi, we use the latent forces of Antakarana to direct the awareness away from the gross experience towards higher experience. So the same Antakarana that you're trying to fix is the same broken Antakarana that you got to use to fix it. That's rough for human, man. That's a rough for the human being. That's like telling a bunch of regular niggas playing football at the park to go shoot a game against all the top players on the Dallas Cowboys right now. Nigga ain't stretched nothing. Go out there and just go play at full top speed NFL level and see once you get your ass broken to fucking powder out there in the field. Some people they at that level, man. They not at NFL level. Once you reach them levels, you at the highest peaking physical condition in sports that you can be.
Yo, that's deep that you got to use the same broken Antakarana to fix the self. Yeah, that's some deep shit. That's what I meant earlier when I said the ultimate catch-22. That you got to use the thing that's broken to fix the the broken shit. You know what I'm saying?
And why you think they want Jesus so bad, stuff? The people they lose faith. That's what the people miss, the logic of the story based off of the emotional attachment to the pain of the fucking Bible. Instead of just being like, yo, they ain't nothing but just fucking stories to give you some common sense. You know what I'm saying? That's why all of them it was all about faith. None of these dudes was really that faithful. They questioned everything when they're told to do something. And that's the same thing with most disciples when they get into something new. Your ego and Ahamkara are so out of control, you can't even listen to nobody.
Right.
You're so busy got something to say, and it's like you argumentative. We can't, man. That's what we going so deep. And that's what I meant by how I said Trav is Trav is an influencer. And it's not, he could be influencing people in a whole different way. But what it is, by being what we calling influencers, and he knows I mean that on a deeper level, that he reaches enough people, and the energy and information he's putting out is a whole nother neurological fucking pathway opening up. You know, it's like an airport. Nigga, it ain't only fucking JetBlue in that motherfucker. Can't you go to a whole nother terminal? This is how they name the shit that we utilize, terminals. That's the same thing they call the fucking neurological pathway. It's a terminal. It takes a pathway to get to something, then it's the connection. But the connection goes both fucking ways.
And that goes for trains too, right?
Goes for trains. And it goes for what? Nada and Pingala and the Shishumna.
Computers too.
Computers as well. A terminal. and it represents the electrical componentry that's in the nervous system, which is a terminal of a conjunction of nerve energy, neurological processes. But then it goes even subtler, because the process of the actual chemical process that goes through the nerves, the impulse is not physical. So it takes a not physical process to stimulate a physical process. So it just keeps showing you over and over how Purusha and Prakriti work. There's always an unmanifest that affects the manifested, and the manifested can't necessarily affect the unmanifested, but it can interact with it.
Right.
And it shows you that all the time. So it don't. So that's where you take spookism out of here. Take all the fluffy shit and fluffernutters and shit out of here, and make it plain, my nigga.
Make it plain.
People always saying, yo, it's the elements, you know what I'm saying? And break that shit down. What are the elements then, man?
Hey, that's what we broke down this week, right?
That's what we rocking over here at the Magic Society. We're not just throwing around this word. The elements and the compounds and is what composed of, what's manifested. No, we're gonna tell you what compounds and how they're composed and the elements, each broken down, my nigga, and what they operate through.
And how it relates to your direct experience.
And how it relates to you and right now. Not just some, that shit was real deep, yo. No, but these niggas said that we can fucking go and do fucking Tattwa Shuddhi and change the shit. Not just say the shit. So it goes back to what? What's heard goes to the brain waves, which is the non-physical activity going into the mind, creating a chemical process, causing what supposedly causes a physical activity of getting up and going to fucking do something to Tattwa Shuddhi your ass. Maybe go throw away that bottle of fake honey that they put the trickery game on you at the grocery store.
Honey sauce. Or
honey sauce. You thought that
flavored sauce.
Start there with the physical shit. Like, yo, I know I should not. Damn, I just kept eating it because I bought it. Take the L and throw that motherfucking honey sauce away, man.
Yeah, that's called taking massive action. If you want to make
some action,
you got to take massive action. And sometimes that's as small as throwing away the crap, throwing away one thing in your pantry that's not good for you.
If you want to get physical, physically fit along with Tattwa Shuddhi, then you're gonna have to fucking really get physical. You're gonna have to get up. You have to go fucking do 30 minutes of cardio. Do some fucking heavy lifting, not in your mind. You ain't Doctor Strange, but you don't got no power. If you had the mental power to mentally change shit, you wouldn't be in the shit that you in right now.
Right.
Mentally, you'd have been changed it. Stop fooling yourself. Stop letting the I-ness, which is Ahamkara, put the trickery on your ass.
You got to have mental concentration and focus. So you don't have that. So let's not pretend we Doctor Strange. Do the work, right?
Let's not think we thorough already.
So look, you dropped a major gem when you mentioned the 5% of absolute, right? The righteous teacher doing the work. And you got the 10% who are out here trying to, who are just here to sell everybody something.
Finessers.
And you got the 85% who are just getting entertained, getting fat, spending money, So let's keep in mind, everybody. I know that y'all are 5%ers. So your assignment is to go and read the next two chapters, which happen to be chapter 8 and chapter 9. And that talks about the 5 elements and the individual tattvas, right? So your assignment, all 47 of you that are still here, out of the 55 that were before. Go read chapters 8 and 9, and we'll be back here again next week to talk about it. All right? Be on the 5%, not the 85 who just come and say, oh, that was deep, and then leave. Be somebody that takes action. All right? And you may not have ever meditated before. You may not have strong focus. You may have a lot of bullshit going on, but you're obviously here trying to make something better. You're here trying to make a difference. So take that one step. Read chapters 8 and 9. Just start there. I know you got the book. If you don't, I got the PDF. Go to themajorsociety.com. We got the PDF for you right there. There's no excuse other than you just don't want it, right? So yeah, that's what we'll be doing. And as usual, I'm gonna go ahead and chop it here so we can have a nice clean 3 hours, and we're gonna start right back up. So if you would like, you know, to be here some more, we'll be here some more.
Peace.
Peace. Follow me on TikTok. I just started a TikTok account. I guess
That was a good plug.
Yeah, you know, all over the place.
Peace.
We'll come back and talk about that funny stuff. I mean,
It's
you know,
5 o'clock.
thanks, Maxine. This part isn't going anywhere. I'm just starting a new stream, unless you want to go.
Gotcha.
I laugh. I blame my daughters jokingly that they have gotten me addicted to TikTok.
Uh-oh.
It's actually, boy, that's why I always talk about social media. You will get trapped up into that thing. It has so much hilarious and good videos that I be coming across on there. I was like, damn, no wonder people. Amar, I didn't came across a video. I think somebody sound clipped your brother and everything was on there. But I said, damn, ain't this Amar's brother? Isn't his brother like the Muslim mystic or something like that?
Yeah.
I said, damn.
Oh yeah, he be posting hella videos on TikTok.
So I'm like, so I'll be coming across all like, damn, this is crazy, man. But Trav, you go on TikTok, man?
Yeah, I've been studying. Check it out. Oh, it just changed. It was 777 and 1111. Oh well.
I saw it too.
But yeah, I've been working on a lot of plans, and I've been avoiding TikTok because I heard annoying things and I experienced annoying things, and I'm still seeing annoying things, but I see an opportunity that I would be a fool to bypass. So I'm starting that opportunity now.
I think that's a good thing.